On this episode of the DTVC podcast, Rich Pierce is back, and we are looking at, I was going to call it a Jalal Merhi classic. I don't know if we call it that, but a fun one from Jalal Merhi. We're going to be looking at Expect to Die, so stay tuned for that. The first, I'd say, half hour of the episode, Rich and I talk about some of the movies that he's written, especially ones for Lifetime, and kind of the space that Lifetime is inhabiting in the current movie industry. So really fun conversation there as well. So stay tuned for that. And then next week, we should be having Ty on for his monthly spot. We'll be looking at the third Shepherd Code movie and then Clear Cut. Clear Cut is one we've been meaning to do for a long time because it's got a lot of podcast alum. We've got Alec Baldwin, Stephen Dorff, Tom Welling is in it. I think I'm probably forgetting some names. But anyway, so that'll be the plan for next week. Now, if you're wondering why it's taken us so long this month to get Ty's spot on the podcast, I'm the moron who deleted the episode that he and I recorded in May that would have been in June. So I was cleaning off space on my computer, and I was like, I'm going to get rid of these old Jitsi files that I have. And I forgot that I hadn't converted the one that he was on in May. We recorded it in May for June. So I deleted it. So we're going to, essentially what would have been the July episode, we're going to put in for June, and then sometime in July we'll record. So we're going to kind of essentially be recording as the month goes on. That one that I deleted, it was we looked at, I think it was Prey of Wrath, I think is what it's called, with Tatiana Neva, and A Line of Fire, David A.R. White movie. So it was a really fun conversation. We're going to try to record that, do those movies again at some point. So we'll see. But yeah, so that's why we're that late getting his up this month. And then in two weeks' time, Chris the Brain Kavinsky from Bulletproof is back on, and we are doing some Bruceploitation. We're looking at Golden Dragon Silver Snake. So that was another really fun conversation there. And of course, we hit all the usual spots. We get some classic TV references in there, and some other things that you would expect us when we're going off on tangents. 90s music conversation, all of that kind of stuff. But for the most part, we stay. It's Bruceploitation time, which was really fun to talk Bruceploitation with him as well. So that'll be in 2 weeks' time, unless something happens with me recording with time. Then maybe that'll be next week. So just stay tuned for all of that. Yeah, and then in terms of DTVC Extra, I'll probably record something next week. So I was thinking about with the Mortal Kombat movies, and then also with The Mandalorian, and realizing those movies, it's kind of like late in the game for those, with them being in the theater. Mortal Kombat 2 is already out of the theater, I think, and Mandalorian's probably just hanging on if it is in the theater still. So I might wait till those two are on streaming, and I think what I'll do instead is next week, I'm going to be going to see Supergirl this weekend, so maybe next week I'll record something where I talk about the Superman movie and Supergirl, so last year's Superman movie. Now, the reason why I didn't do a DTVC Extra on Superman last year was that actually we had Freddie Young from Full Moon Reviews on, and we talked Superman for the first half of the episode that he was on then. So that's why I didn't do a solo pod on that one, but I might just do both of them. So keep an eye out for that sometime, probably next weekend. Usually sometime after I put the main pod episode on, that'll be out. So keep an eye out for that. And then other DTVC Extra ideas. I might wait on Mandalorian and Mortal Kombat 2 to see when they make it to streaming, and then I might cover those ones then. So in the meantime, we'll see if I come up with any other ideas for other DTVC Extra episodes. Yeah, and then in terms of the site, this past weekend we did Under Fire. So that was a fun one again. That was a Thai podcast episode movie that we talked about. A really fun movie. It's on Hulu, so if you haven't seen it yet, it's definitely worth checking out, I think. But yeah, and then this weekend I was trying to figure out, because I had a sale on Xfinity to get a $1 rental, so I rented Exit Protocol, one of the new Dolph movies that's out. So I have seen it. It's in the can. The thing is, I was going to maybe review that one this weekend, but I realized it's going to be Michael Jai White's 30 Club entry movie. So I'm like, well, because he's barely in that one. Do I want that to be his 30th movie, or do I want to, rearrange it? So we'll see. I may still do Exit Protocol, and I've got a movie in mind for his 30 post, his 30 Club post, and that would be Trouble Man. So that one might be coming soon, probably in the next couple weeks as well, or maybe I'll do that one this weekend. We'll see. So it could be either Exit Protocol or Trouble Man this weekend that you'll see. And then in 2 weeks' time, our PM Entertainment post for the month of July, can you believe we're already in July? It's going to be Deadly Breed. So keep an eye out for that one in July. So, and then, again, if I do Exit Protocol this weekend, Trouble Man will be in the week after that, or it'll be Exit Protocol, one way or the other. But Exit Protocol, boy, that's going to be 76 movies for Dolph on the site when we get that one up. So we're closing in on 80 for him. And actually, we have enough movies he has enough movies in the can that we could get to 80, right? Because we've got Hellfire, the new one that he did with Isaac Florentine, that's available. Fat Slags, which I've been warned many times not to review, but we got to do it at some point. Also, Sharknado 5. So that would get us close, right? And he's got a couple other things that are coming out soon, like One More Shot. So, yeah, we're going to get him into the 80s soon here. It's going to be kind of crazy. So, Dolph, he's the Babe Ruth of the direct-to-video connoisseur. So we gotta watch them all, gotta review them all. And if you're curious, you can check out when I do get the review up for Exit Protocol. You can check my Dolph Lundgren list and see where I put that amongst the 80 plus movies that I've watched and reviewed on my Letterboxd list for Dolph Lundgren there. I think that's kind of everything. And so if you listen in a couple weeks when Chris the Brain is on, he's going to make fun of my spiel here that I do for Mark in sales. But hey, get on to Amazon, pick that out, buy that. Also, Bainbridge, again, my short action novel. That one might be more your speed. The link to that is in the podcast description as well. So any of my books, if you want to buy any of my books, right now it's Prime Day, but it's like, I guess it's Prime Day goes over multiple days on Amazon. I don't have any deals. I don't have any Prime Day deals for my books, but if you want to go on there and support an indie author like myself, that could be your contribution. And you're still taking advantage of whatever Prime sales. I don't know if it's like free shipping or something like that, but still, buying my books. I think my books are available on with Prime shipping. So I think if you've got Prime, you get free shipping if you get my books. But if you get them on Kindle, you don't have to worry about the shipping, right? You just get the books. But yes, I'm always happy if anyone wants to buy my books. Anyway, I thought there was going to be a short cold open, but now I'm rambling about my books, so we might as well have John Cross from Miscellaneous Plumbing Fixtures play in our theme song. And then when we come back, Rich Pierce is on, and we're going to be looking at Expect to Die. Hey everyone, welcome back to the DTVC podcast. As always, this is Matt here, and I'm joined once again by screenwriter Rich Pierce, writer of Sector 4 Extraction, and then also Final Heist, which we reviewed recently on the site. Welcome, Rich.
Well, thank you. Yes, thank you for having me back on. Happy to be back. Yeah. And I saw that review of Final Heist. Thank you for that. And yes, you're right. Tim Abel is the man. He was one of the best parts of that movie. And thank you for reviewing it.
Yes, no, it was. I was looking for movies to review, and that one, I had that one on my Tubi queue because I knew that you wrote it. And I was like, well, I gotta definitely get that one in at some point anyway. Because the ones that you write, like I probably still will review some of the Lifetime movies and things like that. But Final Heist, like especially with Tim Abel being in it, it fits the site better, I think. Yeah.
No, it's very Lifetimey, but also crosses into one of my favorite reviews. I think it was on Letterboxd. Someone said like this reminded them of like a PM Entertainment movie with no action and no budget. And I was like, that's a really fair way of putting it. Like it has a very ridiculous plot, very PM Entertainment-y, but whereas they would go balls out with the action and stuff. I couldn't afford any of that. But I think it has a PM Entertainment-esque plot, just without the, boobs and explosions.
Exactly. Well, and I think the thing with someone like a Tim Abel, when a movie can cast someone like him, and he's like all in on the baddie, it's like he only had like scenes at the very beginning and the very end.
Yeah.
And he makes such an impression at the very beginning that you're just like his specter kind of looms over the whole prison the rest of the film, even though we don't see him again. And it's like it's such a rare thing that you can get someone like that to come in and nail it just like that.
Yeah, no, and it's one of those things where like when you write something, a lot of times you put stuff in there that you feel is really strong material, but for movies like this, they just don't have time to waste with character and plot and stuff.
Right.
So in the script, I think there was a little more about why he, because the character he plays is a corrupt prison warden, and he's the most corrupt prison warden in the history of the world, and he's corrupt for the sake of being corrupt. And it's kind of over the top, but he plays it so well, and he dialed it up quite a bit. It was pretty over the top without being embarrassing. It was a good performance, but a lot of the stuff that I had in the script that justified it kind of just went away. So he's just evil, corrupt prison warden, and God bless it, he played that all to 11.
Yeah, it's like he plays he doesn't just do like a scenery chewing baddie.
No,
Like you don't want to be around him as a baddie. I mean, I think what was it? Instinct to Kill? Was that the one he did with Mark
yeah,
Dacascos?
yeah,
Yeah. I remember he liked my review of that one because I was just like, he's like a chilling bad guy there.
you mentioned that. Yeah. No, he was amazing in that.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I think the final heist baddie was more of a fun baddie from him, but it's still like he knew the mission. He understood the assignment and he
Yes.
just nailed it.
Yeah. And his death scene in the script was so much better, and it was a character related death scene, and involved, it's a prison movie, so the death of the ultimate bad guy should be prison related. And we had such a great death scene, and it just didn't happen. He gets shot, and it just kind of he's done for. But he was, and his mustache is just amazing in that movie. Like out of all, if you were to make baseball cards of characters from my movies, he would be like the one of one top chase card of just that mustache. And he cocks a shotgun at one point in the movie. I'm like, that 2 seconds is like a highlight of my career, having him pump a shotgun with that beautiful mustache. And it's wonderful stuff.
Yeah, no, that was perfect too because it was like he made sure he was holding the shotgun the way, someone who's trained to hold a shotgun.
Yes.
Like, he made sure he did that. But then like when he's cocking it, like yeah, that was so beautiful.
It's all him too, because like I don't think anyone set knew anything about that stuff, or at least nowhere on the level he does. So he added some authenticity too, and it was super. Having my one time I ever visited set was on that movie, and I was there for 2 days. One of the days he was there, and having lunch with him was just so cool. He was just an awesome guy.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Yeah, he's I was he had messaged, or he didn't message me. He like I think he replied to one of my tweets about one of his movies, and he was like, "Oh Matt, I got all kinds of stories and stuff like that." But it was like right before I got off of Twitter completely, and so I still follow him on Instagram. I think, and I don't know if he followed me back. I'm not sure, but yeah, I know his Instagram. Because I don't know if he lives in Virginia still, but he's like always showing these like big meals that he makes.
Yeah.
It's like but
The dude like raises chickens, and we talked about his chickens for like half the lunch, and I'm like, I can't relate to that. I don't own chickens, but that's just so badass. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, he's amazing. So yeah, and that movie, it's being a Tubi original, it still is. So people should check that one out because I think it, especially, I mean, the Tim Abel part, but I thought it was, just in terms of a heist movie, it was an interesting concept for a heist movie as well. The idea of like having to bust somebody out of prison who is like in a coma. So you got to break into the prison to get them out is a really fascinating concept.
Yeah, and because that you spend all this time when Tubi was making lots of originals.
Yeah.
Now they're just acquiring back in this little wave of 2021, 2022 when that and my horror movie got made with them. They were making them themselves, and you send, because I had done some Lifetime stuff for the company that then got bought by Fox, which owns Tubi. So like all these people are moving around, and they I guess enjoyed working with me, so they're always like send pitches, and you'll send 20, 30 log lines and just concepts, and it's always no. But this pitch, it was literally, it's a heist movie, but the heist is for an organ. They're trying to get this guy's heart, basically. And like, it was immediate. They're like, go, write that. Yes, go. It was like, hit the ground running. And they have their mandates, female lead. So they want it to be a female heist team, which again is kind of unique. I mean, there's been Set It Up and stuff like that. But, so that angle plus, they're trying to heist an organ, so lots of goofy stuff. There was one draft where it leaned really heavy comedy, and I didn't like that as much, so we pulled it back, and it was less funny, which was good. I think it's a very goofy movie. It's a very silly premise overall. But it went a little heavy comedy at one point, but we pulled it back, and I'm happy with it. And I think for a Tubi original, it's at least something unique that you wouldn't see in a lot of these other movies.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think, one of the things that Tubi was doing with those Tubi originals, and I don't know, I haven't seen as much of the ones they've acquired, but it seems like they were making a concerted effort to have like a lot of diversity in their
Yeah,
casts and,
yeah,
give a lot of people opportunities. And I mean, that's the thing with Final Heist is it's a very diverse cast.
yes,
And, so it's another thing too you don't normally see. I mean, usually it's, Kim Gigandet, his daughter's dying on her deathbed, and so he's got to do one last heist. That's what the heist movie usually is. And so, yeah, to see it kind of done in a very different way, I thought was really cool.
yeah. No, I that's exactly how I feel, and it was fun to work on, and I think it. If anyone who is a fan of this platform and this genre, if there was one thing of mine, the Lifetime stuff, you might get a kick out of some of it, but that's the one to go for.
Yeah, yeah. I think some of the listeners would appreciate, like the one you did that had Tori Spelling in it.
Yeah.
'Cause there's actually, I think there's a fair amount of 90210 overlap in the audience. When I would bring up people like Brian Austin Green being in a movie, like a ton of people would be like, "Oh yeah, Brian Austin Green. Yeah, I totally get that." Like, I'm pretty sure Ty is. I don't know about Brett, but Ty is a fan of 90210. So,
Oh, really?
yeah. So I think there's a more of an overlap than I would have thought. I don't know. I think it's just one of those shows that just like it for its time, it just works in a really interesting way for people of our age group, and so yeah, so that one, I think Final Heist, like you said, it kind of fits more of the site better.
Mm.
But yeah, I wouldn't sleep on a Tori Spelling movie with this audience here. I think.
No, nor should anyone ever. You should never
Right.
sleep on a Tori Spelling movie. That's right.
No, exactly. Now, speaking of not sleeping on something, this is my segue here.
Hmm.
The last time you were on, we were talking about like, okay, what do we want to do for your next guest on the podcast? And you were like, I could go for some Jalal Merhi. And
That's
the
the first
thing,
time that sentence ever has been spoken in the history of mankind, by the way.
exactly. And it just happened that like Expect No Mercy had already been covered on an episode I did with Will from Exploding Helicopter years ago. It was like 3 or 4 years ago. We did a virtual reality movie episode, but we had Expect to Die right there. And the interesting thing is, so I watched it because Jalal Merhi, he's got all of his movies on a YouTube channel that he runs, his Film One YouTube channel. The problem is, of course, is you've got to find these movies. They are in like 8 or 9 different languages, and so you've got to like dig to find the English language version of them.
Yeah.
But that was how I was able to catch it. But you have a VHS copy of it.
I have a bootleg VHS copy that I made myself from my video store days where I would just, I was tearing through the back catalog of all the PMs, all the Jalals and Olivia Gruners and David Bradleys and all that stuff. And yeah, I used to hook up my 2 VCRs. And as a matter here, let me grab, I have it right here. Hold on. Because on this bootleg, recorded in SLP mode, of course, so I could squeeze multiple movies. I have Expect to Die, followed by Hitman, Chuck Norris,
Nice.
and American Ninja 5. So
Two
double,
Bradleys.
and I had at the top Talons of the Eagle, but it's crossed out. So I guess at one point I had Talons of the Eagle on here, and I excised it, and so I could get Expect to Die, Hitman, and American Ninja 5 on one VHS tape. So that's my bootleg copy. That's what I watched it on.
That's a beautiful thing that like working at a video store that you're able to like kind of build your collection that
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I would rent. I think we're allowed to have 3 movies for free at a time. I don't remember what it was, but I would just come home, pop. I would watch them, or if it's one that I knew I wanted, I would just pop it in. Yeah, make a bootleg for myself. That's how I have. I have like a half dozen of these tapes left. So, whatever we cover next, I'll see if we can make it a movie that I have on one of these.
Yes, I think that's awesome. I love that. Yeah, so one of the things. So I used to tape these kinds of things off of cable.
Yeah.
Though my friends and I, our big movie when I was in high school was Bad Taste, the Peter Jackson movie.
Oh, sure. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember we would reserve it, and of course the video store people thought we were hilarious for reserving it.
Hmm.
But one time we just decided, you know what? Let's just make our own copy of it, and we rented an additional VCR from them. So we
Oh,
rented the
wow.
VCR, made the copy that way. And we of course everybody had, and then like we didn't know that like we were only a matter of years away from him being, Peter Jackson being
Yeah.
the director of the Lord of the Rings movies, and his entire catalog just being available on numerous like limited edition DVDs and all of that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I didn't have this movie on VHS, but I did have some other ones that I taped off of cable. And I remember coming home from college one time looking to try to find some of those tapes, and my sisters had like I don't know, they were like cleaning out one of the rooms or something like that, and I saw this bin, and I remember one of the tapes said Matt's Dumb Movies on the label, and I was like, all right, well that's definitely one of mine. I'll take a look here. I can't remember what movies would have been on it. I mean, probably some Dudikoff, like
Oh yeah.
Virtual Assassin, Cyberjack, something like that. I remember that taping that one off of TNT. Um,
Oh.
yeah, I think it was a Joe Bob. I think Joe Bob Briggs was showing it for his Saturday show on TNT, and I
Oh,
think
okay.
yeah, I don't know if that was the one where he made this big joke about the fact that Dudikoff does only did two-word titles. And so he just like had this whole list of two-word titles, like like Bounty Hunter, American Ninja, but then like I can't remember how many other ones there were. It was just a ton of them. But like, obviously, like Cyberjack was Virtual Assassin, and
Yeah.
so yeah, I think my buddy and I we had this goal that we were going to try to watch all of his two-word title movies. But then like we went to the video store and just had so much trouble finding them, we just gave up, and that was it.
And we were talking last time, I mentioned it on the Comeuppance podcast too. Like Spike TV was just a gold mine for this type of stuff. They used to show stuff like almost every night. At it would be like a 1 a.m. showing of Cyborg Cop 3, where
Yeah.
I still have a couple of those tapes too, where those are great because you get the commercials with them too.
Yeah.
You're not bootlegging an official copy, so you get the commercials and the edits for TV, which always make it can add to it sometimes, or it can really detract. But it's just a nice little timestamp.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I remember one that I remember was again, I think I was home from college or something, but Rage and Honor 2 was playing on Spike.
Ooh,
Which unfortunately we've lost both Richard Norton and Patrick Muldoon recently. But I remember my dad had gotten home from work and it was on, and it's that scene at the end where Norton's like beating the crap out of Patrick Muldoon. He's like, "Come on, Bobby, come on," And my dad was like getting into it. He's like, "Yeah, come on, Bobby, come on." It's like, yeah, those kind of moments don't really happen much anymore. I mean, I guess I know Sean Malloy, who's on he'll come on to talk Van Damme. He said that like sometimes like Pluto has some channels, like they like a
hmm
Van Damme channel, stuff like that. But yeah, like the Spike, TNT, TBS kind of thing, USA, also we don't have that kind of thing. That's like USA will just show reruns of Fast and or they'll show the Fast and Furious movies and like reruns of Law and Order now. There's no Dolph
yeah.
movies or anything like that.
No, nothing. It's kind of Tubi's also great for it. They got everything on there. But there's very little accidental discoveries. Like back in the day when you're flipping the channels and you see something somewhat interesting with Cynthia Rothrock or something on at 1 a.m. There's more of a level of commitment to, well, there's nothing else. I guess I'll watch this. Whereas with Tubi, you may come across that same movie. You may see Rage and Honor too, but if you're not digging it, you just click off and watch something else. So that's the biggest shift, I think, is the level of commitment of finding something weird and then sticking through and actually watching it. I think that's kind of gone now.
Yeah, and it's almost too. I don't know if you get like these kind of directives when you're writing a screenplay or if they get edited after, where it's like, like with PM in the '90s, they would have action moments every 10 to 15 minutes because
Yeah.
they knew if you tuned in, you were only going to be 5 to 10 minutes away from a car flipping over, and you'd be like, "Oh, what's this? This is great. I'm going to keep watching this." But it seems like with the streamers, the big thing now is to take a chunk from the middle of the movie and put it at the beginning of the movie, and then work their way back to it so that they have action somehow at the beginning of the film.
No, that's the formula for Lifetime movies is your opening scene is usually a chunk of the climax, just with very little context to then keep you from flipping away. And then with the TV movies, it's every commercial break is a cliffhanger because you want them to stick around. So you need 9 cliffhangers, which is probably close to the same formula as PM. Just it's not a car blowing up; it's some sort of twist because they're all thrillers. It's always single white female, just done differently for the Lifetime movies. Or Swim Fan is my generational thing. I always compare these movies to Swim Fan because that was a big theatrical movie when I was a kid. It's very single white female. So yeah, there's definitely a structure, and but again, without the TV model, without the commercials, I feel watching it on Tubi. Like sometimes you'll see, even I'll be watching one of my movies and like it'll fade to black like with a da 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 moment, and then you're right back, and it's like, well, then what, we didn't need that da 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 because you're not watching it with commercials.
Well, yeah, and I heard too that with Tubi, I think it was director Jay Horton who I've done some of his movies and he's on YouTube. Talks
Yeah.
about kind of yeah, he sees it, yeah, and he was saying that with Tubi, when you put a movie on Tubi, Initially they might give it a certain amount of commercials, but then depending on how good or bad it does, if it does poorly, they take commercials away. Whereas if it's doing well, they add commercials to it so it can generate more
Oh.
revenue. And I do wonder with those Lifetime movies where it's like, yeah, like if it's not doing well, it suddenly doesn't have as many commercials, so you get more of those fade outs. But then also maybe if it's doing better, the commercials might not line up with the fade outs either. So it might be like you get something in the middle of something happening, you get a commercial, and then the fade out happens 5 minutes later.
No, yeah, that's why it's always awkward. I can't remember. Yeah, no, because you were the one that informed me about how my prom night movie made it to Netflix.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
you were I believe you were the first one to inform me of that. And watching that movie, because now it's a Lifetime movie about a bunch of kids getting abducted on prom night, and their limo driver holds them hostage in the back of their limo. I always said it was like a Lifetime version of Collateral, kind of was my take on it. But going to a platform like Netflix, where now those fade to blacks are still there, and people may not know they're watching a TV movie or a Lifetime movie. So that was like half the reviews from people watching Netflix. It was like, why the hell does it keep fading to black? After every 8 minutes or something like that. But yeah, no, that it exists. It all sucks. I don't, it's not the best way of telling stories, but it feels nostalgic to write that though, because TV movies have been around forever, but they used to be much bigger. They were more of appointment television back in the day. So I always feel like nostalgic writing that kind of stuff. Because that model still exists and someone's watching it because I keep getting hired. So someone out there's watching these things.
Yeah, well, and I think like with the Lifetime ones, they had created this genre of movie in the 90s that,
Mm-hmm.
became where they took the rip from the headline thing from the 80s and then made it very specific to Lifetime. You get things like Mother May I Sleep with Danger. Man, it's an all-time
Yes.
classic, So that's
Yes.
like, yeah, when you get Tori Spelling and when, it's like kind of that thing. I was trying to think of some of the other ones. I remember one with Carrie Russell who did Felicity
Oh, yeah,
eventually.
yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's like a cheerleader dating an older guy. And yeah, and I remember like you get these things and you just would kind of be relaxing on a Saturday before you're going out to go to the bars or things like that. And it's just like movies like that were so perfect for that kind of thing because it's like I'd think like, okay, I'll just have this on in the background, and the next thing I know, I'm sitting on the couch watching the whole thing. And I'm like, I haven't gotten ready. People are calling me like, oh, what, are you getting ready to go? Yeah, just give me 10 minutes here. I'm just gonna find out what happens to Carrie Russell here.
Yeah, no, and it's funny because like the audience has changed. Like when I may have mentioned this on the last podcast. So fast forward if you've heard me yak this before. But like when I was growing up, these movies were largely there were thrillers too, but very much torn from the headlines, very much leaning into drama. They're like custody battle movies or a breast cancer story. And then they kind of did away with that to where now, like I said, it's all single white female or swim fan, if you're me. Very much thriller to where Joe Bob Briggs, I may have mentioned this too. He did a thing not too long ago, and everybody who I know who watches Joe Bob sent me this clip of him talking about like where did all the good like direct to video low budget horror movies go, because those definitely still exist, but I think they've gone really far one direction. And Joe Bob was like Lifetime channel movies, because they're all basically horror movies just with no blood. Like you don't see any gore or anything like that, but the stories are very much what you would see low budget horror movies did in the 90s in the direct to video world.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, swim fans one, but yeah, you think of things like The Perfect Tenant or
Yeah.
The Stepfather, which I think
Yes.
they ended up making a theatrical remake of The Stepfather, or a
Yeah.
limited release. And so yeah, a lot of these Lifetime movies they kind of fall. I mean, it's like and then you get like a director like David Dakota, and he's just like, okay, well, Vivica A. Fox can do whatever I need her to do, so I'm just gonna
My
like
gosh. Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna make 7 movies in one year with her, and we're just gonna find a bunch of mansions out in California to make these movies, and they pump them out, and but they all kind of do their thing. I mean, I know obviously, I think we've talked about Jay Harang, the YouTube channel.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I can't remember which. There was one of yours that I think I saw him cover.
He did too. He
He
did
did too.
too. Do You Trust Your Boyfriend? Which I argue that's a good movie. I really like that one. But he tore into it pretty good in a loving way. That one was really
Yes.
fun. And then another one of mine that I don't really care for, depending on where you're watching it, it's either called Charmed and Cheated or the title I hate the most in my filmography. And the fact that this comes up with my name sometimes freaks me out. The other title is Student Seduction. So
Oh.
I hate that you can Google my name and Student Seduction comes right next to it, because I'm like, oh boy, that's a movie, not a crime. Uh, not anything real. But he did both of those, and great. I loved him. I almost wanted to message him and be like, do more, but I don't. That's kind of uncouth.
Yes. Well, there's a director from Australia, Nate Hill, who I've had on the podcast to talk about one of his movies, and we were talking about that because he's actually been on Jay Harang's show.
Oh, okay.
He's talked with him about, so like whenever he has a new movie come out, like now Harang will interview him about it, and so and it's kind of one of those things where like I think. You can kind of go either way, I guess, with that kind of thing. Where like if Jay Harang's kind of giving your movie the treatment, you can either be like say something in the comments or get annoyed, or you just lean into it and say, hey, here's the process of me making this movie or something like that. And yeah, it's always, I always kind of get a kick out of how he covers. I mean, he can sometimes be mean, like he'll might make fun of like how like an actor looks, and sometimes like they really can't help how they look, they can't make fun of that. But most of the time it's just like though there was one where he's talking about the actor having a big head.
That was
and,
mine. That was
yours.
mine.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Okay, that was, yes. Okay, all right. I remember. Okay, yes. All right, yes. Yeah.
No, it was the boyfriend in Do You Trust Your Boyfriend?
That's
He
right.
said he had a massive head, and I'm like, I don't think he has a big, but whatever. It was funny, and I haven't talked to that actor, but it's growing up a tremendous Mystery Science Theater fan. That's as close as I'll probably ever get to being involved in Mystery Science Theater, even though it's kind of the subject of ridicule. So no, I totally dig it, and I think it's hysterical.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. Yeah, okay, I remember that now because she's like the girls are one of them has like a fake account, right? And then it
Yes.
becomes the person becomes God, yeah. I mean, it like you said, like those are like they're kind of the perfect direct to video horror kind of deal from that time, that you'd see a lot of movies that kind of fit patterns like that. I mean, obviously they didn't have social media back then,
Hmm.
but you'd have something like where the group of girls in school and one of them would do something to somebody. I mean, I guess I feel like that maybe the teenage girl was maybe more 80s than 90s, but it was still that idea
Yeah.
that like they kind of fit that pattern. I think you mentioned that before about Joe Bob. But it is a really great observation that like the Lifetime movies are kind of doing the work that the 90s video store used to do for us.
Yeah, no, and I think there's a version of every Lifetime movie I've done. There's a horror version of it that could have totally existed and been the same story, just executed differently. In fact, with that movie, Do You Trust Your Boyfriend? The initial concept was I wanted to do it as a horror movie, but then when I kind of got some connections to people who did Lifetime stuff, I'm like, okay, let's take the horror out of it. These girls create a fake profile to basically test their boyfriend's loyalty, and then what happens? But a week later, this fake persona they created comes to life and arrives at their school as a new student and starts tearing their life apart. And the original concept was the pictures they found for this fake profile of this girl. They didn't know it, but it was going to be of a girl who died. And so they're taking this dead girl's photos to create a fake persona. And then the girl arrives at their school, and then they find out she's dead. And it's like, is this a ghost? Did she fake her? What is it? So it was very supernaturally, which obviously they won't do in Lifetime. So, you just take that supernatural element out, and now you have a delightful Lifetime thriller that's fairly rooted in reality. No supernatural horror stuff, but still some deaths, just no blood, you know.
Yeah, it's interesting that Lifetime doesn't want the supernatural part because I think a lot of their audience probably overlaps into like ghost hunting and stuff like that, or like watching ghost hunter people on YouTube and things like that.
Yeah, you never know because it changes every couple. And now they're going through a big change right now where I don't even know what the hell they want anymore. But
Right.
when I first got in about 4 or 5 years ago, it was we're making movies for teenage girls to watch with their moms. And so you want to appeal to the 14-year-old girl and the mom. So there's got to be like some cautionary tale in it, like don't create fake profiles, don't catfish people, like in that movie. But then it turns on their heads and turns deadly and stuff like that. So it's weird. It's a weird world.
It is, but it is, but like you said, it's a lot of fun too. It's like when you're there and you're just like, this is just how do I say? It's like you you're watching something like that and you're just like excited to kind of you kind of I don't yeah you just kind of get excited to kind of see how it's going to go. You're kind of invested at that point, and it is always a lot of, I mean, granted they can be hit or miss, and I think like
Sure.
I think with David Dakota, I mean, one that I think of that didn't work out so well was Santa's Summer House. That
Oh boy.
yeah, I had mentioned we talked about where there's that big long croquet scene in the middle, and you're just like, what are we doing with this croquet scene here?
That was the one with Gary Daniels and Daniel Bernhardt, right? Where
Right, right.
Cynthia
Cynthia
Rothrock,
Roth.
yeah, she
Yeah,
was
she
like
played
Mrs.
Mrs. Claus.
Claus. Oh my god.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And you're just like why? How, like thinking about MST3K, it's like Sandstorm, or like rock climbing. It's just like
Yeah, yeah.
croquet for like 20 minutes in the movie. You're just like, man. So like sometimes if the movie's not paced well, it can take you out of it. And I know the other thing too with the Lifetime movies is that the end of the movie has more commercial breaks than the beginning, and
Yes.
so
Yeah.
I'm sure I never thought of that before with Netflix because I think for me my brain is so velocitized that like the fade outs don't really mean anything to me. It's more the commercials, like sort of interrupting it for a full 30 seconds or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Um, but I never thought of it before that like yeah, if you're watching it on Netflix, you're just seeing like a like a rapid succession of fade outs when you get towards the end.
Yes, and it's very jarring, or can be very, very jarring. But then,
Yeah.
like going back to horror really quick, I did another Lifetime movie called oh, what was it called when it came? It was a killer lifeguard movie. I forget what the actual title
Mm.
was when it came out. And for that one, it was a draft. Like another writer had done a few drafts, and it wasn't what they wanted. And they came to me and asked me to rewrite it. And literally, what I did was, again, growing up in a video store, I loved The Dentist, that
Oh
Corbin Burnson
yes.
movie. So I just went beat for beat watching The Dentist, and just took those beats and applied them to a lifeguard instead of a dentist. So like that movie is literally The Dentist with a lifeguard. So the deaths have more a beach theme than a dentist theme, but it's the same thing. He's Jason Voorhees as a lifeguard, stalking and killing. And again, that would have been a sweet horror movie if we got some blood and guts and stuff in it, but it's more obviously Lifetime.
Yeah, because the lifetime deaths are kind of like they're almost kind of like erotic thriller deaths, where it's like
Yeah.
somebody's on a ledge and then they get knocked off and then they crash down, and yeah, or they roll down a hill or something or stairs. I don't know if that's something that comes up for you where you have to
Oh my
if
god,
yeah if you
every
mentioned
movie.
right there's stairs and that's like an ominous thing that the stairs are there.
I'd say at least two-thirds of my movies have a stare death at some point. Yes.
Yeah, it's funny because I've been doing like erotic thrillers on the podcast with John Cross, and it's like you watch one now, and it's like a lot of them are these mansions with like the stairwell in the middle or something like that. But it's like the moment you see people running up and down the stairs, you're like, okay, when is it going to happen? And it's like
Yeah.
speaking of Tori Spelling, right? You got the Donna Martin, with Ray, falling down the stairs, kind of yeah. So yeah, yeah, it's always kind of, but I always kind of like that. It's like one of those things. I think when you watch enough of them, you start to look for those hallmarks, and it's actually kind of more fun. Not no pun intended by using hallmark, but you know what I mean. Like you start
Sure.
to, it's like you look for those kind of things, and it actually makes it more fun.
No, the algorithm is very clear when you're looking for it. When you're aware of of what the algorithm's built out of. Yeah, you'll see a location or a flight of stairs, and you're like, well, when's it going to happen? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's always going to look at. If you see a fireplace and there's a few pokers kind of,
Yep.
sticking up, somebody's getting one of those in the back of the head. And so that's always the other interesting thing too, I guess. And then maybe this is also part of like with the writing, like whether, it gets taken by, the director does something different or if when you're writing it. But the fact that like those things can kill somebody. Like a poker to the head can kill somebody in some cases, or other cases just knock them out, right? And then they wake up and they're, it's always like kind of a different, And I remember a friend of mine was watching. We were watching. I think it was Prom Night 2.
Mm.
Yeah, but, and I think Michael Ironsides gets hit in the back of the head with something, and he's like knocked out. My buddy's like, that is like the worst thing you can do to a human being. It's like you're
Yeah.
just like setting them up for like permanent brain damage, and
Yeah,
it's like,
fractured skull, long term,
right, exactly.
permanent brain damage.
Right. In these movies, it's just like, well, we need somebody knocked out really quick. And it's like, we don't, it's going to be hard for this character to get some kind of chemical agent like chloroform or something like that. So let's just grab the nearest heavy object and hit them over the head with it.
And that's happened too, where I'll go so far out of my way to come up with an elaborate but hopefully organic reason for someone to be like sedated or whatever. But then when I watch the movie, it's like, we didn't have time for that. So yeah, fireplace poker to the head.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
what we go with.
Yeah, makes sense. Exactly. Yeah. Well, I mean, kind of funny. Maybe this is a good segue as we're talking about Jalal Merhi because he was someone who I think when it came to making his movies, he definitely did a lot with, or, he tried to do as much as he could with little. I know Cynthia Rothrock tells a story about when they were doing one of the Tiger Claws movies, and her mom was actually visiting the set that day,
Mm.
and Bolo Young was like stalking the set looking for Jalal Merhi because he
Oh
hadn't been
yeah.
paid for yes.
Yes.
And so he was definitely making these movies by the seat of his pants. And it's like when you read his IMDb bio, he sounds like this like film impresario who's just like, jet setting across Canada and just doing all this great stuff. But like, yeah, when you hear about what it was like making movies with him, it sounds like a whole different process.
No, yeah, I believe it was Tiger Claws 2, wasn't it? Because isn't that
I
why
think so.
Bolo's in a chunk of that movie, then he just disappears from the movie.
Right.
I believe
Yes.
that's the one where they had their falling out, their kerfuffle,
Right.
professional kerfuffle. But yeah, it's always interesting to hear because on IMDb too, doesn't it? Or maybe it's his Wikipedia. I spend too much time looking at Jalal Merhi online to keep track of it, I guess. But he was like a jeweler and
Yes.
so he had money and then he decided to invest in it. And listen, I'm sure the dude is good at martial arts. It doesn't come across very well on screen. um, but I'm sure he's somewhat legit. So he kind of just put himself in movies. And I think he was smart enough, though, to often team himself up with other people who were at least more known. And, like Talons of the Eagle, he had Billy Blanks. And, well, maybe that's it. Well, no, like Tiger Claws, Cynthia Rothrock, too. So I think he was smart enough to team himself up. He didn't have enough of an ego or too much of an ego to where he was always front and center. He wasn't some, like the one we're going to be talking about today. I mean, he had Evan Lurie in there, even though Evan Lurie is totally misused in this movie.
Right.
David Bradley too, even though I think David Bradley's wonderful in this movie. Just it's not the David Bradley you would expect. He's not American Ninja. He's just he's acting, and he delivers in this movie, I think.
Yeah, well, because one of the trivia things it says that this was supposed to be a sequel to Expect No Mercy,
Yeah.
but then they had to scrap it. So I'm wondering if everybody that was involved with Expect No Mercy said no, they weren't going to come back and make this one. So he kind of scrambled to make this one. But I mean, I think you mentioned Evan Lurie, and the thing I got the biggest kick out of Evan Lurie's part is that he's younger than everybody else, right? He was born in like 66 according to IMDb. So
Mm.
yes, so he's younger than, like I think I don't know when Jalal Merhi was born, but I know David Bradley, it says he was born in 53. I mean, a lot of these guys were either born like in the mid to late 50s or like early 60s. So yes, technically Evan Lurie was younger than everybody, but he wasn't like Gen X or alternative kid young that he's playing in this movie as a cop.
Well, and his costume's ridiculous, and maybe that's what they're going. He wears a backwards baseball hat for the
Right.
movie. And he's like the
Yeah.
open flannel shirt, so he looks very,
Yes.
very much grunge, like '90s grunge kind of a for a cop, nonetheless. But yeah, but we'll get into it. But Evan, well, the background on Evan Lurie, right? About what his current business. Have you heard of this? I know I talked about it. I believe it was on the Comeuppance podcast because I don't know why I came across this, but are you aware of what he does now?
Yeah, so he has like an art gallery in like
Yes.
Carmel, Indiana.
Yes, yes.
Right. Yeah.
No, I have the friend from the video store who I used to work at, and we were into these types of movies. He moved to Muncie, Indiana, of all
Oh
places.
my God.
Yeah, home of Garfield and James Dean,
Right.
birthplace of both those American historical figures.
Yeah.
And somehow I don't know how he came across this. He learned that Evan Lurie had an art gallery in Carmel or someplace near there. And he messaged me. I'm like, there's no way that's the same Evan Lurie. And then you go to the website and like it shows the proprietor of this gallery, and it's Evan Lurie.
Right. Well, because now he legitimately has short hair. In this movie,
Yes.
they stuffed his hair under the hat, and there's one scene where he's driving and they're shooting him from behind, and I guess they thought the backwards visor on the baseball cap would be enough to cover the fact that you're seeing like this mound of hair that's like flowing up underneath the helmet there. But again, which I don't understand either, like why he needed to have short hair for this role because there was nothing about this grunge police officer that would have been out of place if he had long hair.
Yeah, no, everything about his character is an odd choice up to his early demise in the film. So I don't know. Yeah, it was very, very odd.
Well, yeah, if you want, I'll do a quick synopsis of this and then we'll start breaking it down because there's a lot. The funny thing about this one is like I was thinking, because like TC 2000 and Expect No Mercy I've covered on the site before or covered on the podcast before, and they have a lot more names than this one does.
Yeah.
But I don't think this one has any shortage of great things to discuss that
No,
happen.
this is a masterpiece. Everyone listening, like I'm the one that pushed for this, and I remember initially you said no, But then you were like a week later, like, oh no, 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 no. I was saying no because we just did Expect No Mercy. You were talking about Expect to Die. So when I got that alert from you, I was tickled that we'd be able to talk about my favorite movie of all time, Expect to Die.
Yes. No, you know the funny thing about this movie, 'cause I don't rate things on Letterboxd. I just log that I've watched them or not.
Mm,
But I do look to see what other people have rated. And I will say this is one of those movies that for me, I have much more respect for people that give it like a 4 or 5 star than the people who give it like 1, 1.5. Like I feel like the 1, 1.5, those are like anybody can give it that. But the people who
hmm
give this 4 or 5 stars, I have much more respect for.
hmm Well, no, because with a lot of these movies, you have to realize what they had to work with, and maybe you can see the kernel of the idea, just not executed to the full potential. But part of the reason I love this movie is I don't even see the kernel of the good idea. Like I really don't think this was, at no point in this process was it like, yeah, we're going to sign off on that premise. Like I feel this was a misstep in every direction, but it's just so, I love this movie. It's I hate saying, guilty pleasures and stuff like that. But for me, this is up there, top five bad movies ever. I love it.
No, it is. It's a thing of beauty. I'll do a quick synopsis, then we'll start breaking it
Yes.
down because there's so many things. Like because I was going to start talking about different things I like, and maybe I'll just yeah. So the quick synopsis is that David Bradley he is a computer programmer who he has this government contract that is supposed to help train fighters and have like kind of sort of give the U.S. an edge in warfare, and it turns out that the there's issues with the program and the government shuts it down. And we found out that Bradley's father in the Vietnam War created Agent Orange, and he's responsible for a lot of deaths there. So it's almost like he doesn't have really good history as a guy. So then also the computer company he's working for, they fire him. So he's just not in a really good place. And then at the same time, Jalal Merhi is an undercover cop who does this big bust, which we'll get into, more detail. But the bust uncovers all kinds of contraband, including 3.5 floppy disks. And so they realize these floppy disks go to the company that Bradley used to work for, and everything has to do with this video game that is sort of like a Mortal Kombat style game. But Bradley has figured out a way to strap this VR device to people and make them have to play the game for real and with real consequences. And so now Merhi and Lurie, they got to take Bradley down before his horrible plans come to fruition and he can use the game to kill people. But yeah, so I guess I don't know where to start with this. For me, I guess where I would start is just the opening title, the way the words come together on the screen, and you get like the metal clanging of it. It just brought me back to like being up late at night, seeing it on cable, or renting the movie, and renting a movie like this. I love that. It was just like such a comfort food moment for me.
No, yeah, the titles look like what you. I mean, playing all the Mortal Kombat ripoffs there were at the time. This looks just the opening credits. If this were on Sega, it would be like, yeah, that's exactly what I expected to look like.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so beautiful, and I guess yeah, it's the '90s virtual reality thing in itself was just such a fascinating thing because it was just this. It's kind of funny because now we're in this AI thing where people don't really know what large language models are or what they do. It's just like AI can do this or AI can do that, and it's weird that like 30 if you had these people watch a movie like this they'd be like, oh, that's ridiculous, that's but
Mhm.
yet people kind of like anytime we bring out a new technology it's almost like you can create these kind of movies around it.
No, and there was tons of VR movies back in the day. There was the Don the Dragon one.
Oh yes.
Blah blah blah. What was it
Was it
called?
Sci-Fighter?
Oh no, before that, the one in the
Oh,
'90s with
virtual combat, or
maybe.
no?
I just remember it was Michael Dorn was the voice of like the evil
Right.
computer guy. Whatever. But then Dudikoff did a virtual reality. So yeah, it was like every time there's a new tech, it's how can we make it scary? How can we make this a villain? The technology's the villain.
Now so now with Donald Dragon Wilson, so there is, yes, I think it was virtual combat because I see Michael Dorn as the voice of Dante. Um,
Okay, there you go.
yeah. So and that also had Michael Bernardo. You gotta love Michael
Oh,
Bernardo.
sure.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
right. Yeah, great. Speaking of long-haired guys, yeah, you gotta love. Yeah, yeah. It's like the '90s. I don't know. Yeah, there was this sense of like all this technology that was going to come, and yeah, it It would have been funny if just one of them predicted cat videos on our phones, on our our handheld phones,
Yeah.
but none of them really caught that. I guess you can't make an action movie about cat videos.
Sure, you could. We could find out. Find a way.
Yeah, exactly. So I was trying to think in terms of like the timing of how this movie goes. That it's like, does Bradley he gets fired, but does he go to the bar
Yeah.
before Merhi does the sting operation?
I think it's after. I just know that's where he meets the bartender who becomes his first, test subject for his the new what he's working on outside now that he's gone rogue. So I can't remember if it's before or after. I think it's after.
Okay, yeah, because like one of the things about this movie is that for whatever reason they wanted it to take place in New York, and there's one establishing shot of New York City, or I guess there's a few here or there of New York City, and then Evan Laurie's drinking out of one of those souvenir coffee mugs that you can get in like a Times Square souvenir shop that has like the shield of the NYPD on it,
Mhm.
but everything else is definitely Toronto, and including the fact that I think only one time do they have a New York plate in the car. Every other time they're Ontario plates. But when Bradley goes into that bar, it's just all Canadian beers on the menu thing. It's like Labatt's Blue, Molson.
See, I didn't even catch that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's such I mean, again, it's one of those things where it's like with one of these movies where it's like, I don't know that I would have been upset if it took place in Toronto. Like, I don't know that I needed it to take place in New York, but I wonder if they thought because you have that mob boss guy that you
Oh yeah,
associate mob with New York.
yeah, maybe, yeah.
So, all right, so we get Bradley gets fired. He's in the doldrums, and then Mayor he meets he's there with his wife, and she's like doing computer work.
Oh
Um,
God, the wife is amazing.
yes, she's been. This is the only roles that she does. This is the only movie that she
I
does.
looked at when I was rewatching this. I looked at it to be like, I remember she wasn't great. Her
Right.
performance wasn't great. So I'm like, let's just see what else she's on. This is it.
This is
And maybe that's a justified decision. I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't think because he is married, Jalal Merhi, and I don't think this is his wife. His wife's name is listed on here. No, it's Basma is her name, Basma.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so it's definitely not this woman here who's in this movie for this one role that she does here. But yeah, she's working on the computer while he's wearing a tux, and he's like putting his guns together, right, while she's talking to her. He's like, and he like just kind of throws like I don't know, it's a 32 or something, the backup gun. He just like dumps it inside of his boots or something.
Yeah, no. I actually have the video playing on my TV right now
Oh,
as
you
we're
do?
watching.
Okay.
I'm right at that moment where he's straightening his bow tie, and she's on her, fucking Packard Bell, whatever this is, her back then. So yeah, no, it's uh, his outfit is well, his wardrobe. Whoever did the wardrobe for this movie is amazing because between this, which the tux is relevant to the story, it does pay
Right.
off. So it's not he's just wearing a tux for no reason. But at the end of the movie, where he's in his like mustard yellow shirt for the big action climax, it's just the worst costuming ever, which is pretty incredible.
Well, 'cause I think too, because they knew they were going to have that whole fight scene with the two of them rolling around in the mud, and I wonder if that was the deal. It was like
Mm.
where he went to like the nearest like Walmart. I guess at that time it would have been like Kmart or something. He just got like the cheapest pants and shirt he could find. It was like, let's just we'll destroy this.
Yeah, yeah.
But have you noticed too with Merhi? This seems to come up in a lot of his movies too. Is that he likes to have a big warehouse fancy dinner.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess that's another way to make the budget go, right? Is that the rich people have their fancy dinner in a big warehouse
Which
environment.
is where you do it. Yeah, you get together at the docks and at the warehouse, and you have your big elegant dinner, which he is serving. That's why he's
Yeah.
wearing the tux. He's one of the servers, but like they don't explain like how he got in on that. Like why is
Mhm.
he there? Like how did he get undercover to then be this? I don't know. None of it really adds up.
No, because we get the sense that there's a woman there who I mean she looks like she would be on like E, like interviewing like a
Yeah.
B or C list celebrity on the red carpet. So like, she's like interviewing Steve Buscemi. He's just so happy to be interviewed that he's not upset that it's not, I don't know who the other people were, like, Joan Rivers or Melissa Rivers or whoever would interview that were like the bigger names. She was like the lower name. But she's like pretending she's like the boyfriend, I guess. That's how she's gotten in undercover. She's the boyfriend of this guy who's at the head of this table, who is, I guess, trying to sell weapons to these other crime bosses who have women with them as well. And of
Yes.
course, we get this beautiful scene that's just, this is the kind of thing that I think you would only see in a Jalal Merhi film, is where the guy's like, so I trust that you guys came, with your compensation or your money or whatever. And everybody's got these metal briefcases that they open up. And there's like a unique form of contraband for each bad guy.
Specific to their evil deeds. They all do
Right.
evil in different ways. So we
Right.
need different evil materials. Yeah.
Yeah, so we got one that's got coke, or whatever. There's a heroin, whatever that drug is. One that has money, just straight up money. You gotta have that.
That's always good. Money.
Right. We've got diamonds in paper, and then one of them has 3.5-inch floppy disks, which is like, it's just like almost like they just went to like every action movie of the '90s and just collected all the MacGuffins, and put them all in a briefcase so they could have them.
And the spread is wonderful for the dinner. There's like a picnic table. That's where they're all plopping their suitcases on and unveiling them later on. But we're skipping one thing. And I only see because I'm
Yes, go
playing.
ahead. Yes,
I'm cheating because I have it on mute in front of me
yes.
right now. We're forgetting. There's a wonderful scene with David Bradley after he's fired, sitting at his home. He's drinking a glass of whiskey
Oh,
or whatever,
right, yes.
and he's flashing back to people taunting him for his father being a maniac or something like that. But the flashbacks are like there's like a little girl on a playground saying, "Your daddy's a wacko." So apparently his taunting has been going on since childhood. But then it shows like a teacher, like a librarian looking woman. She's like, "Your father is evil and corrupt," and they're all talking direct to camera, flashing between. And then one of them was like this biker dude, and I'm like, "What?" Over the span of your life, like how many different types of people did you hang out with who knew what your father did, were making fun of you, and now you're flashing back and you're in the doldrums, as you said. Yeah, he's definitely upset, but it's just the weirdest flashback scene, and it's like, where did they get this collection of people, and what context do they have in his life?
Right, and he's sitting there with his legs crossed like Jean-Luc Picard on the bridge, of the Enterprise
Yeah,
or something. And
very
so
much.
so that's great. And then like the girl is wearing a definitely like '90s outfit.
Yes.
At the very least, it's '80s. Now we know Bradley's character was not a kid in the '80s or the '90s. He was definitely in the '70s, because obviously, if his dad was creating Agent Orange in
Good point. Yeah.
Vietnam, he would have been a kid in the '70s, and just after Vietnam. So yeah, and it's what the impetus is that gets him to go out of the house. And I think,
Yes.
right, don't they? I was thinking, I was trying to remember if they did that like opposite. He's having like the tender moment with his wife before, while he's putting guns in his boots and stuff like that as he's about to go out.
I think it's just after that. I
Right.
believe. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So now we get this interesting moment where there's some woman who I guess she's one of the girls that's with the guys, and she's supposed to be calling the backup cops
Yeah.
to let them
Yes.
know. And I guess the big head honcho guy, this guy D'Agostino, intercepts the call, or did he already know that? That this part wasn't clear to me. I don't know if you picked up on it better than me. If like
No, I
no.
didn't. No.
Yes. Now, this D'Agostino guy, the best way I can describe him is he's a cross between Jim Belushi and Kelsey Grammer. But like, if you take that combination, but you make it the beefier older brother of that person, that's what D'Agostino is.
I agree. That's actually perfect.
Yes.
That's what the casting call said. We need a beefier Jim Belushi and Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah. And so he essentially warns everybody that, hey, this thing's going bad. But that doesn't stop now. And so the IMDb calls her Carrie, says that the actor's name is Carrie. I thought he was
The
saying
partner?
Leah. Yes, the partner. I thought her name was
Oh.
Leah, but
I know he shouts her name when she gets shot. Spoilers, she gets killed. When she gets shot, he yells out her name. I don't
I
remember
thought
what
he yelled out Leah, but I could be wrong. And maybe he did yell out Carrie, and I just didn't hear it right. But
he's got a thick accent. Maybe he was saying Carrie. It just sounded like Leah. I don't
that
know.
could be too. That could be too. But so she has a gun on the bad guy. She's like, "Hey, you guys all have the right to remain silent," you know. And but then they've got other guys that have guns. But then Merhi shows up, and now it's just a big shootout, and it's
Well,
just
he's a master of deception because he's standing by the table when it happens, and
right.
his big move is he drops his tray of hors d'oeuvres on the table, and that it confounds everybody so much that he then starts kicking people, and people just start running. Like he drops the tray of hors d'oeuvres, and everyone just bolts, and
That's
it's
right.
like, oh my god, like he just dropped his tray. At that point, they didn't even know he's a cop. He could have just been a clumsy waiter.
Exactly. That's a good point. I didn't even think of that because it is. It's like, like, oh, what is Merhi doing? This is
Yeah,
crazy, Then,
yeah.
oh no, he's shooting us. Yeah. And then it kind of devolves into your kind of like your padding shootout where it's just
Yeah.
people shooting at each other, and every once in a while somebody gets hit. And then the partner, she gets this crazy Grinchy idea when she sees a mannequin standing on the wall. This was,
Yes.
I think this is the moment that the Brits would say is, what they would call an excuse to get her kid off, right? That's the
Mm-hmm.
the idea is that we're going to make her take her dress off here. So she puts the dress on the mannequin, brings the mannequin out, and people start shooting at the mannequin, and then she just picks them off and is like very proud of herself while she's in her underwear and her,
Yeah.
her nylons. But then like the baddie sneaks up behind her, and it's kind of like this. It makes it even more gratuitous that the baddie sneaks up behind her and kills her after she does that because it's like she went through all this trouble to do this only to die anyway.
That's a good point. Yeah, and also when she does the whole, switcheroo with the mannequin, she's standing 6 inches from where the mannequin was, so really wasn't that big of a deflection for her. And as soon as the mannequin falls, she pops out and, like you said, picks off people. And my favorite part, there's a wonderful moment. I should rewind and watch it because after the mannequin thing happens, she comes out with a big grinchy smile, like you said, like, "Oh, how clever am I?" And she catches eyes with Jalal Merhi, and he's undoing his bow tie, and he's just nodding like he's so proud of her, like, "How cunning you are!" And it's the most ridiculous moment. It's a stupid plan that she did, and she wound up dying anyway. But none of this was that cunning at all.
No, no. And so now that she's dead, he's not happy. So he's chasing this guy that we find out is a second in command baddie after D'Agostino. And I'm trying to remember exactly the set of circumstances that leads to Mary being on the ground and D'Agostino shooting a rocket
A
launcher
rocket launcher at him, yeah.
yeah. It's like he's like hiding behind a car and
There's like a row of 3 cars.
yeah.
Jalal's not even that close to the cars, and he fires the rocket launcher at the car that Jalal is probably furthest from. But of course, it starts a chain reaction of they had 3 Oldsmobiles they could blow up, so it hits the first one, boom, 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 and they all go off.
Well, and it's the kind of thing that I think if hard justice didn't exist, with that beautiful scene where David Bradley, well, the stunt person being David Bradley, is like running across cars that are just blowing up behind him.
Yeah.
If that opening sequence didn't exist, you'd probably say, "Hey, that's pretty cool. That's good stuff there." But it's like, fortunately, Merhi, there was always, I guess that's maybe his story with these '90s movies is there was always one out there that did whatever he was doing, a little bit better.
No, yeah, it's he probably watched a lot of these. They're his colleagues. He probably watched all the Olivier Gruner and Dudakov's movies, stuff like that, and then just cherry picked moments that he could do the C- version of, including this one here. Or like I think back to I Come in Peace. There's that great
Oh
scene
yes.
where the other aliens running across and or no, Matthias Hughes is running across the cars and the other alien shooting, and those things just are erupting, and he's jumping from one car just as it explodes, and it still is effective today because that's a real dude, and those cars are really blowing up, and he probably could have died really easy.
Yeah.
But this is like so pathetic in comparison.
Yeah, speaking of that movie, the Comeuppance guys, I think, were saying that the people making the movie couldn't believe that Hughes could jump in those boots that he was wearing. They were like, this guy's insane that he can do this, and so they kind of just went with it. So yeah, but that's the thing with Hughes, right? When you get Hughes, I mean, I guess that, you think of TC 2000, where you had Billy Blanks fighting with Matthias Hughes, where you just get these two massive athletes just going at it, and so
Yeah.
but Merhi didn't. I think it's the other thing is I think Merhi couldn't get anybody like that for this movie. The best he could do is Bradley and Evan Laurie.
Yeah, this is definitely a step down. Which I just got TC 2000 on Blu-ray from whoever released this deluxe edition of, because a couple of Tiger Claws got the boutique treatment.
Oh, right. Yeah.
There was like a Blu-ray 4K whatever of that, and then I just picked it. I haven't watched it yet though. I haven't seen TC 2000 in a long time, but I'm gonna have to watch it on Blu-ray and see if it holds up. I'm sure it does.
It does. So I covered it on the podcast back in, I think, in February or January. Oh no, it's February. I covered it in February with Freddie Young from Full Moon Review. He'd never seen any of Billy Blanks' stuff. It was action stuff before, and
Mm.
so it was really interesting. Yeah, to kind of have him get a taste of what it was like, with that stuff. And it's like, Billy Blanks as an actor, you get these moments where he's like trying to yuck it up with the fellow patrol people, and you're just kind of like, okay, can you just roundhouse kick somebody, Billy? Wait, let's
Yeah.
let's cut right to the chase here. We don't need to do this, but yeah, we would, it definitely still holds up. I think probably has more of a TC 2000 is probably a better one to show people who haven't really seen these kind of movies as much
Hmm.
than
Yeah.
this one is. This one's definitely more for like how many of these Jalal Merhi movies have you seen? Okay, yeah, you'll probably enjoy Expect to Die.
No, because I remember TC 2000 having pretty good, sets, and I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say good effects, but better effects than Expect to Die. Even Expect No Mercy, which wasn't that. I remember reading on IMDb or something like wasn't Gruner supposed to star in that movie, and then the role went to I forget, but I remember reading somewhere that Gruner was supposed to star in Expect No Mercy, which would have been interesting. And then, of course, you have this movie, which was initially or at some point going to be a sequel to that.
Right. Yeah.
Even though there's really, I don't know, is there much of a connect? It's been a while since I've seen, obviously, Expect No Mercy too. But do they even connect that much? Like, could you have seen this being a sequel?
So I think he rewrote it when he discovered he couldn't get.
Oh,
And I think like he wasn't even supposed to star in this movie. He was just supposed to direct it. And then
mm.
when it became this other thing, I guess because I think he shot Crisis with Bradley.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah, so I think maybe that was part of it was he could get Bradley for this movie if, I think he shot this in Crisis back to back, so he was able to shoehorn Bradley in for this one. And I wonder too, like, if you're writing a script for a movie and then the movie doesn't work out, yeah, I guess there's that sense of like, you feel like you got to do something with it. But
yeah.
I wonder if there is a point where maybe just starting from scratch, even though as much as it might pain you, maybe that's the bit. I don't know, because it might have been a more coherent story if he'd started from scratch.
It might have been, but conversely, you get things like Crisis, which Jalal wasn't in. He directed. And if they did shoot these back to back, I would argue that's a great example. I think Crisis is just an awful movie, and it's not
Right.
fun at all. But this movie is at least very, very fun to me. At least, who knows? Your audience may watch it and think I'm crazy, but I think these are very obviously similar in terms of their budget and the crew and the folks who made it. But yeah, Crisis, I can't. I hate that movie so bad.
Yes, no, that's the one, right, where he spends most of the film like chained to workout equipment.
Yeah, well, it's all in a house. That's what
Right,
I
that's
remember.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's all like a hostage movie, basically.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, but Bradley, it's interesting with Bradley because he's got hard justice on his his CV, but he's got some interesting ones. I mean, like American Ninja 4. It's like Dudikoff insisted he wouldn't do any scenes with Bradley or whatever. There's some issue there, so
yeah,
that means Bradley's character just gets caught midway through the movie and just spends most of the movie chained in a basement or something like
yeah,
that. And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and so it's like these movies weren't really doing him any favors. I mean, I was probably a little bit harder on Cyborg Cop because I just the fact he was wearing a fanny pack for most of the movie was too
It's a
obnoxious.
leather fanny pack. It's a black leather, so it's badass.
Exactly. I most people I don't like that one. I just was harder. It just like detracted so much to see him with the fanny pack. Why? And I think they got it too because in the second movie, remember like he goes into like this big ambush and he's like pulling a gun out of the fanny
Yeah,
pack. And
yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, so,
I like Cyborg Cop or Cyborg Soldier, depending on what you're watching
yeah.
it on. I like that one quite a bit. The first Cyborg Cop, I could take it or leave it, but the second one, I really dig.
Yeah, the second one seems like it got everything right. It just, knew what it was about, and just yeah. So Bradley, it's interesting in this movie here where he's playing a bad guy, and he's diabolical as a baddie, but he's also kind of like I don't know what the sniveling, I guess is maybe the right word. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. No, he's very theatrical.
Yeah.
There's a moment at the end. I don't want to jump too far ahead, but he has a mounted like leopard head, like
Right.
not
Yes.
mounted, but like a stuffed leopard head. And his interactions with that prop, I would argue my in my heart, I hope none of this was scripted. It just was like the set designer put this really weird thing on his desk, a leopard head, and he interacts with it. And every interaction is very just it's so theatrical. Like he rubs its chin and growls at it. It's just so yeah. He was acting, and go for it, I guess.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. So it's almost like yeah, like somebody doing Hamlet with the skull. It's
Yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. It's better than that, as a matter of fact.
Yes, no, exactly. I appreciate it more too. Yeah, more, yes. Now, so I'm trying to think now, does the bar scene happen before the next day at the hospital? I think the bar scene, right, comes where Bradley goes to the bar to kind of drink his troubles away. And
Yeah.
the bar that's definitely in Toronto. The other thing I noticed about the bar in Toronto, I couldn't tell for sure, but I think there are posters of Toronto Blue Jays players in the
Oh
background as
no,
well.
really?
Yeah, I think it's like
Oh, how did I not catch that?
I think if I think because I couldn't tell. I tried to like zoom in to see, like get screenshots and zoom in to see if I could, but you can't tell for sure. Like he definitely knowing that he was making this for a 1997 VHS market.
Hmm.
You really can't tell if they're, you really have to know the players. You'd have to be someone from Toronto probably, or someone who grew up with that era of Toronto Blue Jays, which I mean, that was the team. They had just won the World Series a few years before that.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Like, was Joe Carter back there or something? I don't
I
know.
know. I think one of them looked like it could have been. I don't know if it was Joe Carter or Devon. But I think it might have been Devon White.
Mm.
So yeah, but I that was my sense of it. But at least on the chalkboard that's above the bar that says all the beer prices, they are all Canadian beer. I mean, it's all Labatt's, Molson, which is just beautiful.
That's great. Oh, but we're also one last thing because I can't remember if it's before, but he's in a couple scenes. Their boss, the lieutenant or whatever it is that Laurie
Oh,
and
right,
Murphy report
yes.
to, he is dubbed, and it's the weirdest thing. He has like a very like nasally, high pitched Steve Urkel voice, which does not match the actor at all. Um, and every time he speaks, I'm just like, why is he dubbed? Like, did he have like a thick Canadian? Which there's plenty of Canadian accents in this movie, including the bartender.
Yes.
Um, very thick Canadian accent. So I'm wondering why he was the one, because obviously Jalal has an accent too, but it's not a Canadian accent necessarily. So I'm like, why did he get the short end? Like, why did they have to dub him?
I wonder, yeah, maybe the mic didn't pick up his, because you're right, because it's not like they're dubbing new dialogue over him.
No, yeah, he's being re-looped, and
Yeah.
in every scene that I noticed it, and it was only him having it done. So I don't know.
So there's one time that happens to Lori. It's when they're
Yes,
they're about to go into Quan, right, to catch that shake down that Quan guy, and
yeah,
and suddenly his voice just becomes a lot higher pitched.
yeah. It's just one line too. So I don't know. Maybe
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, no, because that moment. So you got Bradley where he's at the bar, and I guess a more mature, maybe it's the best way to describe it. A more
yes.
mature lady of the night approaches him, and he just wants nothing to do with it. And
Hmm.
and I don't know if that was supposed to be a scene that was supposed to make us believe like, hey, he's a computer guy. He's so into computers that he just doesn't want to hook up with a lady of the night, or if it was just like some kind of bad joke. That I don't know. It was such an awkward scene.
Maybe they were trying to aim for a save the cat moment where he's your villain, but he has some honor and he doesn't
Right.
do the. I doubt it, but like yeah, that was very odd, and it's like I don't know why that needed to be there.
Yeah, and then he just happened to sit next to a former serviceman who
Yes.
was in Vietnam and, of course, exposed to Agent Orange. And so then he starts getting into it with Bradley when they decided they're going to say on the news that he
Yes.
lost his contract, which the billions of dollars in military contracts that happen or don't happen every day. I don't know how often any of them are on like national news. It's like maybe like, like deep cable Bloomberg might discuss, like for 5 minutes before they end an episode. But this is like major news that he's losing this contract with and so this guy's like, oh, I know you, your dad gave me Agent Orange or whatever, and so they start getting into it, and then the bartender throws him out,
Hmm.
and so he's not happy about that. That the bartender, like you said, he's a big Canadian guy with a long goatee who,
Yeah.
he definitely rhymes story and sorry.
Hmm.
And so yeah, he's like, oh, that. So yeah, so Bradley goes back to his house and he goes down to the basement and he starts like really plotting his revenge on this guy, and his revenge on everybody, that he's going to get them back. Um, and then I'm trying to think. I think it's before he goes and gets that guy back. I think we get the moment in the police precinct where the lieutenant is there,
Yes.
just opening up briefcases. Well, because first Merhi sees his partner on a ventilator in the hospital,
In the
and
very realistic looking hospital room.
exactly with the nurse who
Yeah.
has the Eurotrash hairstyle that
Yeah.
made me think that she was going to put like poison in the woman's IV and kill her off.
Yeah, I thought that was it's exactly what I thought too. Was like, oh, she's a henchman. She's a henchy in some way. Like she's gonna do, but no, just a unique looking person.
Right, exactly. We're just checking to make sure the IV's okay.
Yeah.
And then back at the station, we've got, our alternative guy, Evan Laurie, with his flannel shirt and his backwards baseball cap and his Gap wide leg jeans. And
He had one earring, right? Didn't he have like one? Yeah.
just one was enough, I guess. Two
Mhm.
would have been too. It would have been too. It would have verged too much on the rave territory, maybe. I guess. I don't
Yes.
know.
Yeah.
But he goes up to Merhi and he's like, your partner's going to be okay, but you're going to need some help, and that means I got to work with you again. And Merhi's like, yeah, I guess we had some history based on this script, but I guess we're okay to work together. And then, like you said, this dubbed lieutenant just starts walking around with briefcases, just opening up briefcases, showing off all this contraband stuff that they got.
Mhm.
What was the line? Because it's like I think he said something like he's like mad at them. He's like giving them the classic lieutenant, like you guys are screwing up or you're doing all this stuff, And then Merhi's response with the accent and sort of the delivery, the line delivery was great. It was like "With 7 dead baddies and we got all of these briefcases or something, and it's just like,
Yeah. Partners got in the hospital. It was a complete cluster. But yeah, no, 7 dead baddies. That's good.
exactly. And I love that like we get this one scene in the warehouse where all these baddies are showing these briefcases of different contraband, and now they're showing them to us again. Um,
Yeah.
and just perfectly enough, it was only the briefcase that had the 3.5-inch floppy disks in it that got shot.
And then they take him to the computer guy,
Right,
the police precinct computer dude.
yeah, and of course, there's always that character, right? That there's the
Yeah.
with the glasses and he's using the computer and it's like this idea of like, well, because they were shot, I can only get so much information off of them.
Yeah.
Like because it's almost like it's like having a piece of paper with holes in it, and you can only pick, that's how the computer works.
And I think what they were trying to set up, and I don't know if it necessarily pays off that way, is that they have their computer guy who is not much help, but his wife, her super secret power is that she will now be able to uncover this information, which I guess at the end of the movie does kind of happen in a wonderfully ridiculous way when she gets involved in the video game and Expect to Die. But I think that's maybe the angle they were going from was like, he can't handle it, but his wife, she's got all the skills we need for this plot point later.
Yeah, and I wonder if he was thinking about he could get a bigger name than the actor he got who's barely in the movie, and if this was maybe supposed to be a more robust part that,
The computer guy?
yeah, the wife, the wife
Oh,
character.
the wife. Okay.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe like to your point about that angle that like she knows about computers much better than the police precinct cop guy does, and so she would be like maybe even like going with him to investigate things and stuff like that.
Mm.
Yeah,
Well, I
I
don't
mean,
know if that's the case, but they struck gold with this actress because she is just it's pretty incredible. what
yes.
what they accepted as a performance out of her was pretty bold.
Well, because what's great is he gets home from his work that day, or I think there's some stuff that happens in between, right? I think the Quan
Yeah.
stuff happens and everything. But I'll quickly jump ahead and we can jump back to Quan because she essentially he's like, yeah, my partner's almost dead, and I'm like really stressed out about that. And she's like, well, come, I'll take that stress away.
Yeah,
It's
she's
like,
like, I'll help you or something like
right,
that. And you
yeah,
think maybe we're gonna sit down, have a nice talk, but nope,
yeah,
cut to what it cuts to.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, so I guess like the first thing they do is they go to the computer office, right, and they talk to the head of that guy, right? Or did they talk to Quan? I can't remember if it was Quan first or the head of the computer guy, like the head of the company that just let Bradley go. I think that's what it is, right? They talk to that guy
I
first.
think I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, because the other thing too is that we also get Bradley once he's fixed all his computer issues. He's gone in and he's tested everything out. He's sitting there with the VR stuff on and he's got like his sword and he's
Yes.
he's
Well,
fighting
there's
against.
a wonderful moment where he's like holding a pen to the computer
That's
screen,
right.
and on
Yes.
the computer screen is like a bicep and like a whatever, like a skeletal muscular system, and he's
Right.
holding a pen to it. And I guess the implication is this pen then supercharges the part of his body that he's scanning on the computer screen, and he's like juicing himself up with, I don't know. It's wonderful.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And then, so the thing is, this video game that he has, Expect to Die, it has this head baddie called Kill 'Em All. All one word, Kill
No,
'Em
kill
All.
all. No,
Kill
just
all,
kill
that's right,
all.
kill all,
Yeah,
just kill all, that's right, kill
yeah.
all, kill all, right? Because they sometimes say it with like an
the,
accent, kill
the way
all.
Merhi says it, I believe, I don't know. I say Jalal Merhi. I've also heard people say Jalal Merhi,
Yeah,
but Jalal has the same inflection he gives when Jalal Merhi says kill all. He goes,
kill
oh,
all.
we are looking for kill all. Which I'm
Right.
like, it's just the same way you say your name. So I don't know.
Jalal, yeah, that's right, exactly, yeah, yeah. And so essentially, Bradley is making that character better. Then he takes his SUV back to the bar,
Yes.
and just waits outside for that guy, which eventually he's gonna have to throw some more people out.
Just it has to happen.
And I gotta say, right, I don't know about you, but it felt like those two stunt guys that are getting thrown out of the bar by that guy. Some of those kicks looked pretty close to real. Like I don't know.
That it's arguably the best fight scene in the movie because he lays a sidekick into one of the dudes and it
Yeah,
looks great.
yeah, yeah. The guy's pretty scary. Like his
Yeah.
martial arts ability and his size together.
Mhm.
But Merhi gets him with a dart and he flops down. Well, the other two guys are laid
Bradley.
out.
Bradley gets him with the dart.
Right, Bradley gets with a dart. That's right. Yeah, but Bradley gets with a dart. The other two guys are just laid out already on the floor, and then the bartender guy kind of flops down in between
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
Yes.
So we assume that somehow Bradley was able to get him back to his lair, but the guy wakes up with the VR stuff on, and
Yes.
Bradley lays out the rules. One of them is if you take the VR stuff off, you die. Which I don't know how that works, but
Well, also, where is he in conjunction to Bradley? Because Bradley's like talking to his computer monitor. So you're wondering, is there another sub layer of his layer? Is there a detached garage where he puts the people in the VR headset? Because he's not in the same room as him, I believe.
right, because it looked like there was when at the end of the movie when Merhe's going to like get rescue his wife and all that stuff, it
Hmm.
seemed like there were a lot of rooms around.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
almost like the finished basement that has like the different rooms in it of somebody's house where they kind of somebody did an addition or something or I don't know. It just seems like at one point it seems like he goes into a laundry room and
Yeah.
there's that guy who looks like a poor man's Billy Drago that Merhe gets for these movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that not Billy Drago?
No, the guy that looks like a cross between Billy, yeah, the guy that looks has a little Robert Palmer, David Coverdale, I guess, from White Snake. Yeah, no, he's not quite Billy Drago, right? He's like,
Okay. He looked.
yeah,
It's because Billy Drago has been in some Jalal Merhi movies, correct?
right.
He was
No,
in The
this is
Circuit, I believe.
exactly, yeah. No,
Yeah.
this is a poor man's Drago that Merhi employs for like these movies where it's like he's just in it for like a little bit at the end or
I didn't
something.
know there was a market for that for a poor man's Billy Drago, but I guess there is.
No, he
Yeah.
must have just seen the guy. He must just know the guy, and he's like, you look kind of like Billy Drago,
Well, he's the
and
perfect looking henchman. It's wonderful.
yes, he's like this mix of Drago and David Coverdale from White Snake almost. Like there's like it's like a little bit of difference, yeah. But because I think it's like if you get Drago in your movie, you got to use him.
Oh
He's
yeah,
got
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Whereas this guy, you can be like, hey, the guy who looks like Billy Drago, do you want to be my movie for 5 minutes? And it's like, yeah, okay. What do I got to do? Well, you got to hold this woman hostage and then get hit over the back of the head. Yeah,
Yes,
okay, all right,
exactly.
I can do that. Yeah, Billy Drago would be like, I need to do this. I need to do, and so
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, so there are rooms in this place that it's one of those deals where it's like you really just don't know where anything is in relation to anything else in a place like that. You're just but where he is in the VR place, he's in a prison cell, and
Yes.
we get a couple minutes of back and forth. Get me out of this thing. Nope,
Yeah.
no, if you don't get me out of this, you're going to pay, which I have to feel like Bradley was going to pay no matter what if that guy, like if
Yeah.
Bradley like let him out suddenly, he wasn't going to be like, okay, you're fine now,
Yeah.
I won't make you pay now because you did as I asked,
Mhm.
right? Bradley was going to pay either way, but yeah, so he has to fight the prison guard, and we find out later what the prison guard's ability is. But essentially, the prison guard is a VR fighter who ends up taking out this guy, and then before that guy dies, the kill-all shows up and beheads him.
And Kill-All is dressed like a samurai, like with the big, the whatever, I don't know what that helmet would be called, but that and guy's big sword. So yeah, he's like the big boss. He's the angel of death in the game, essentially.
Yeah, if you face him, you're done. And so yeah, so that's it. That guy's dead. But then so so now we know how evil this thing is. But then our heroes, they go to the computer place. They meet the head honcho guy who had fired Bradley. We find out he used to be an athlete.
That was the weirdest thing they put in there because there's no payoff. And he has sorry, not to cut you off. He has that's Brad Milne or whatever?
I think so.
He's been in a bunch of these, I shouldn't say it, but he's been a few of these Jalal Merhi movies. And he has a line in there because, in his office, there's like all his accolades, his trophies, and like medals hanging on his desk. And he says something like, I don't even know if anyone calls it out. Like someone just glances at his trophies and he's like, yeah, from my athletics career. It helped me in the upper echelons of the business world. And it's like, no one asked, dude. Like no one asked, and it's just so smug. But it has no real payoff. I thought rewatching it now for the first time in a while that maybe ultimately, this guy's going to wind up and expect to die in the VR world, that maybe he would have a slight advantage because he was a former athlete, but I don't remember them having any payoff to that. So it's almost like the actor said, yeah, I'll be in the movie, but I really want to stress that I used to be an athlete. And he brought his own regalia with him to like show off as a prop in the movie and add this stupid line that has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, I think, right, because I think the idea is supposed to be that that the fighters train his game somehow.
Yeah.
And so that this guy having his athletic ability would train the game. Now, does that mean so like you said, this guy ends up getting put in the game at some point, and you've got this like awkward this like shirtless guy awkwardly throwing stars at him. And is that supposed to mean like because Brad Milne, plays the character name I guess is Tanner, because Tanner is so athletic? That's why he's able to dodge them, but eventually the guy's no longer awkwardly throwing them, and he's eventually good at it. I don't know.
And also, shouldn't be digging this deep into it, but in this VR situation, let's dive into that reality if that were to exist. If you're running, is that to imply that when you're in the VR headset, you're running in place, but in the game you're running? Because otherwise he'd be like running and slamming into walls in the sunroom he's trapped in because there's nowhere to go. So, but like. It just doesn't make. What I'm saying is it's a little illogical,
right? Well, because the way he's running, when he's running away from, even though he's moving, it does kind of look like he's running in place.
They are totally running in place when they're in front of the green screen for the video game. Every shot of them moving, they're definitely running in place.
Yeah. So yeah, like you said, it's like again, it's hard to know like what of these things are like you said, like the Brad Milne character being like, hey, I was an Olympic athlete, and I want to show this stuff off, and how much of it was we had written a character that was supposed to be something like that. Because the other thing too, so he's originally from Toronto, so. The picture of him with the American flag behind him, that's definitely a fake because he wouldn't have been able to compete for the United States. So,
sure.
Yeah. So they definitely made, I was trying to see on his IMDb bio if he says anything, because you think if he made it in the movie, he definitely would say something in the bio about it. But he really just talks about doing an acting studio. Okay. So Merhi had this idea and he just went with it. But
maybe, there you go. Maybe they're Merhi's accolades from when he was a.
Sorry, Taekwondo. I didn't even think of it because he mentions in his bio winning Taekwondo awards. So yeah, that could be what it is. They could have
and knuckle push-ups.
That's right, knuckle push-ups. Exactly, exactly. Now, so after this, they get this sense that this guy Quan, who's like kind of an informant who deals stuff on the side, that he would know what's going on with these discs that are being traded around. The other thing, I guess, is that the wife has informed Merhi that the company that these discs are from, what was it called? Conquest International?
It was CI Industries or something. It was something
Conquest
CI.
Industries? Yeah. Yeah, they've made the best video game on the market right now, Expect to Die. And she lets it be known like, hey, the company I work for, we're pretty good, but these guys are the best. We wish we were as good as these guys.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, it's your classic like, going to Circuit City, like big box,
Oh yeah,
PC game.
gigantic boxes. I see. I didn't play too many PC games, but were they ever this massive? It's like a shoebox. It's a huge box for this game. Is that how it was?
Yeah, so I never really played them either. I had friends who did, but I would go to Circuit City, like especially as a kid, when I was like, I guess like, I would have been like early high school, whatever. Like the grocery store was across the street from Circuit City. So my mom would drop me off at Circuit City, and then she'd go to the grocery store. I mean, it would only take like 5 minutes to find the CDs I wanted to find. So I'd have to like kill another like half hour in Circuit
Hmm.
City, like finding stuff to do. So I would walk over to the PC games knowing, we didn't get a computer till I think it was like 95. And I think by that time they'd already moved on to like the CD-ROMs and things like that. But yeah, you would see some of those like those big boxes. I mean, even things like Microsoft. What did they call it? Was it? I don't know if it was called Office back then or if it was like individual products like Word. When it works for
Yeah,
Windows, but like Windows itself, because people would buy computers that didn't have Windows in it.
yeah.
So Windows would be a big box like that too. Yeah, so
Okay, okay.
that was yeah, and again, I don't know. I guess part of the reason why they were so big was that there was a lot of foam that protected the discs and stuff. So yeah, so that part of it was real. I mean, I don't remember them being quite as big as they are in this movie, but
Because I just remember a moment when they're talking to Quan and they're like in the interrogation room. That the scene starts with whatever thing we're going to be talking about being plopped on the desk. It's a nice little transition, but they plop the box for Expect to Die in front of him, and he kind of smugly says, "I don't know anything about this." But the box, it's massive.
yeah. Well, and the thing I love too about Quan is that he he gives them a hard time when Merhi and Lori show up. He gives them a hard time. All of his men are there, like with guns on them and stuff.
Hmm.
And then, of course, we get like the propaganda moment where Merhi breaks the rules, right?
Yeah.
He walks up on a crate and accidentally, quote, accidentally, close quote, kicks a crate on the ground and then, machine guns fall out of it, and it's like
Hmm.
one of those classic propaganda where it's like, hey, if cops didn't have to follow the rules, they could stop so many bad guys. We in the 90s, we got that all the time and thought, yeah, that's right. Yeah, we should, then realize like that, that's
We
like,
need more loose cannons. Yes.
exactly, exactly. But that's when, suddenly like one guy in the background, there's always this would always happen in these movies is that you just would have this one lone gunman with an Uzi in the background who would just start hosing the place down. And fortunately, these guys weren't good enough shots that our heroes could get behind something,
Hmm.
so they could, and then Quan like loses like all seven of his guys get killed at this point, in the shootout. And then Quan's like, okay, I'll turn myself in. And it's like, wait, after all that, like
Yeah.
you turn yourself in. Yeah, all your guys were killed. It's like, okay, it's almost like a whimsical like horn or something after it. Like it's just like, oh, Quan, what are we gonna do with you?
You rascal.
Exactly. But yeah, then you get that interrogation scene, which is great, where it's just like, I don't know anything.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what about this, this, and this? Oh, well, I guess if you're going to bring up this, this, and this, then yes, I can give you that, or.
Yeah.
Now, I guess at this point, right? This is so the Tanner has the yacht conversation with D'Agostino and Bradley,
Yes, which
where
he also dials it up to 11 in that moment too.
yes,
He kind of goes off book, it seems, a little bit in that scene. But that was, yes. So he's there, and then they leave, and he comes back. And all I remember was his name Tanner.
Tanner, yeah,
That his name's written on the side of the yacht of the boat,
yes, yeah.
which makes me wonder, like, was that boat already named Tanner? And they were like, well, we're going to be shooting. We'll just name the character that. I don't know. I remember
I
being
think
struck
no,
by
I
that.
think so. I think so. I think that was that was another idea they came up with. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, because Tanner's like, hey, the cops are getting too close. I don't want anything else
Yes.
to do with this. Also, they don't really talk about the fact that he had just fired Bradley before,
Yeah.
but now suddenly it was like, oh, it was all an inside thing because it didn't seem like an inside thing when he fired him earlier in the movie.
No, and
It's
also, why would Bradley react? McIntyre is
right.
Bradley's character. Why would
That's
he
right.
react the way he did if that was the case?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
He wouldn't just be sitting there like, Patrick Stewart, with his legs crossed and everything. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, yeah. But apparently it was all a big scheme that
Mm.
D'Agostino and McIntyre and Tanner are all in on it together to sell stolen chip, or I guess like his technology is so good that he can sell it on the black market to another country, I guess, or something.
Yeah, see, that's where I got a little confused. Really quick though,
Yeah,
side note, the
yeah.
guy who wrote this movie, or was one of I think it was story by someone, screenplay by whatever the guy's name is. He went on to write, like you look at his filmography, he wrote like some TV, like he did an episode of like She Spies or something like that, one of those like Canadian syndicated shows. He did this, and then he did I never saw it, but it was 2015-ish, 2016, I believe, was Taylor Lautner. They made like a
Mhm.
parkour movie, like I think
Oh,
he was,
right.
and he wrote it, or I think he did story by. So like for a dude like that who wrote, I'm always into the writers, he wrote this and like a couple episodes like syndicated Canadian TV, and then he had a big theatrical movie. So I'm like, good for, he must have some talent if he was able to get a big studio movie, a decade or 2 decades almost later.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I think that's really cool. Yeah, and he in this movie he plays Leon. So he's Agostino. He's
Oh, no way.
the beefy Kelsey Grammer Jim Belushi guy.
That's him.
That's him. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And apparently he's also the referee in TC 2000 when
Okay.
I think that's the moment when the two of I'm trying to think when there was a referee. Was it when I don't think there was a referee when Blanks and Hughes fight. I think it might have been when somebody fights Bolo Young and like the underground fight maybe that's I can't remember.
See, I'm wondering now because obviously these are all Canadians. Like, Canadian TV was a big thing, and obviously tons of movies are shot there now. But I'm wondering if, like, at this time, was Jalal kind of the big fish in a small pond in terms of features, I should say. I know there's always been TV and obviously features now, but I'm wondering if, like, in the independent feature film scene in Canada, in Toronto at that time, if Murphy was kind of a big deal because he obviously had talent around him, writing, and well, he directed, but the act, he always has his buddies, Matthias Hughes and all these guys, and these David Bradley, but like he had some talent around him, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, especially like in the Toronto area where I think they did a lot of syndicated shows, but I think
Yeah.
Vancouver was where Hollywood did their stuff more.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I think so. Maybe you're right. Maybe that was the thing where like Toronto, if you were a screenwriter in Toronto, you could
Murphy's
write.
as big as it gets.
Right, that could, yeah. I know the David Cronenberg Crash was made in Toronto,
Oh,
uh,
okay.
but I was trying to think of other. A lot of things were shot there, but like there were Hollywood productions that would move up there. But yeah, because I know TV show wise, I know there were a lot of syndicated shows like Highlander was shot, but I think it was shot in Vancouver.
Hmm.
They called it Seacouver on the show to make it
Oh,
so it was,
really?
yeah, it was like Seacouver, and so it was like a combination of Seattle and Vancouver. But yeah, I think like there was one Da Vinci's Inquest I remember being on all the time. That was done in Alberta, I think. So yeah, you make a great. I never thought of that before, but that really could be that like if you're a screenwriter, you're kind of trying to get work like Merhi, doing an action movie with, whoever people, and Merhi, I think, because, it's got a story by credit and then a screenplay credit. I think the story by
Yeah.
credit was the original sequel to Expect No Mercy.
Oh, was it the same guy who wrote Expect No Mercy?
It might be. Let me see. Stephen Monder is his name. So let me see. Let me look up
Oh.
Jalal here and see, because that might be the case. What was it? So that's the problem with Merhi is he's got all kinds of credits, and so like finding
Oh, and
his
never. Yeah.
I gotta find his acting credits. That's what I need here. Expect No Mercy. There we go. He played Eric in Expect No Mercy.
Did you ever see
Oh, it was Monder.
Total?
Yeah,
It was okay. A total
yeah.
side note of him just acting, which usually he produced and directed his own stuff. But did you ever see God, that Guaranteed on Delivery?
I've been meaning to see that one. Yeah,
I actually really dig that movie. For better or worse, it's a transporter-esque plot. Gruner's
yeah.
in it. Gruner's the bad guy. Carradine's in it. I actually really dig that one. I believe he had nothing to do on the back end. He just acted in it, and he's the lead. And I would argue that's one of his better movies.
Yeah, I have been meaning to do that one for a long time. Well, actually, Okay, I'm telling you, I haven't seen it before. I just went to the IMDb reviews page, and I'm the second review for it, so yeah, so I have seen it. I reviewed it in 2009, so 17 years ago, I did see
Well,
it.
I'll forgive you for forgetting them.
Yeah,
That's fine.
so I think my issue with it was that there wasn't enough Gruner fighting in it. So so this is one of the things. If you read my reviews from that period, that like late 2000s to early 2010s period, especially like the late 2000s, I was a big stickler for movies having a lot of fight scenes all the time. And so,
Okay.
yeah, there's a lot of movies that I've gone back and watched them and like, oh, I actually kind of like that one better than my review at that time. And other ones where I'd be like, why did I like this movie? Because I don't know.
Well, I don't blame you because that was kind of a cold period because in the early 90s you had tons of these movies and the
Yeah,
action was great. Later half of the 90s, early 2000s, like that would have been my video store era.
yeah,
Like, I would be tracking, waiting for, the new Dolph Lundgren to come out and yeah, you get some good ones, but you mentioned it earlier, Sci-Fighter with Don the Dragon. I
yeah,
remember like counting down the days. I'm like, oh, you got Don the Dragon, you got Lorenzo Lamas, Cynthia Rothrock, and that's another VR movie too. And
oh
but
yeah.
but that came out like 2005. Like I think we were way past the VR fad at that time. So that movie was pretty late to the game. But yeah, I remember. But you would take what you could get during that era, is what I'm saying. Like Seagal was doing all the things he did, and there'd be tons of those movies, which very few delivered. So
Right.
outside of those guys, but like there was like a 10-year period where Gruner, Don the Dragon, certainly Jalal Merhi didn't really make hardly any movies. So you took what you could get.
Yeah, because I was talking about this too with Sean Malloy when we talked about Assassination Games, which was what was that, 2013 that one came out?
Oh, the Van Damme and Adkins one?
Yeah, or
Yeah, yeah.
2011. And we were saying how when we watched it at the time when it came out, we didn't like it, but now compared to the modern DTV world, it's
Mm.
better. And I think one of the things about this 2000s period is that like there's like this shuffling going on where like Seagal and Van Damme were coming down to the DTV world,
Hmm.
and then guys like Gruner who were like known as the DTV version of Van Damme
There
suddenly
was
it's
no
like
need for him anymore because,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, and so then he was, and that's probably where some of the animosity comes with some of these names together. It's like, Gruner's not getting the roles he wants, so now he's got to do the circuit with Merhi, and then he's
Yeah.
like not liking the production on that because it's not compared to like some of the other stuff that he might have done that was a little bit higher production values.
Hmm.
Yeah, and so then then Merhi's like all excited because he's getting Gruner for like it's like, oh, this is great. We're gonna make these circuit movies together, and,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a really interesting time, and it's like I know like Dolph started directing his own movies kind of
Yeah.
mid 2000s, and I don't think a lot I mean obviously you worked with Gruner on Sector 4 Extraction. It's like it kind of wasn't an avenue for everyone. A lot of them had to take, Rothrock, she finally did what was it? I wanted to call it Schitt's Creek, but it's a TV show with Eugene Levy. It's something Creek. I can't think of the name of it, but it's her newest one that she had come out.
Oh, Black Creek,
Black
the
Creek, that's
Western?
what it
Yeah,
was.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That one. Yeah.
Yeah. Why did I think it was something more complicated than Black? It was Black Creek.
I may be wrong. I don't, but yeah, you're
Oh no,
right.
you're
There
right.
was
I
a,
think it's what it is.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. And so I mean, she finally did, but it was like none of not all of them had that option to be able to direct the way like Dolph was able to direct his own stuff. And I think it did put them in a place in that, and they end up in this place where it's like, oh well, this guy Alexander Nevsky wants me to be in a
Yeah.
movie of his, and it's like it's a vanity project for him, but it's like it's work for me, so I guess I got to take it. And
Yeah.
yeah, that '90s period where everybody was doing stuff was kind of the heyday, and it's like you
Yeah.
look at something like this, it's like it maybe doesn't stack up to the '90s stuff, but like man, compared to all the stuff that comes in the 2000s, the 2010s, and now the 2020s, like expect to die. It's like it's like you take the Pepsi challenge with just about anything that's come out, in these more recent periods.
No, yeah, and it's always you always look back on it. I mean, nostalgia is obviously huge, and I'm nostalgic for a lot of these movies. But
Yeah,
I'll go back and watch like Shadow Man with Seagal
yeah,
or whatever, and at the time just hating it. Now I'm like, listen, I'll take it. I'll take this over. A lot of these movies where you have Mickey Rourke and Michael Jai
right,
White. Michael Jai White is great, and so is
yeah,
Mickey Rourke. But they're there for a day, and it's clearly just and it's there's no care. No one cares
right,
about these movies anymore, and no
yeah.
thought goes into them.
No, like poor Michael Jai White. It's like he just he can't quite get like every once in a while he'll get a project that's really good for him, but it does seem like it's like you said, like the Mickey Rourke one. What was that? The Commando? Um,
Yes, yeah.
yeah, and it's like he plays a DEA agent who, when they're raiding the DEA the drug compound, they're just like slitting guys' throats, like like that's what the DEA does. I'm like, what
Yeah.
is that? That's just weird, you know. And then it's like, the whole movie is him getting back to his family while they're in the house, and it's like,
Yeah.
it's almost like this Ghost in the Machine kind of element, right? Where it's like we just need to hold off long enough until Michael Jai White shows up and just kills everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like you think of him like Blood and Bone, or Black
Great movie.
Dynamite.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like really good. And it's like he just like why people. I don't know if it's like they watch Blood and Bone and they're like, well, we can't afford to make Blood and Bone again. And it's like I feel like you could just keep making a Blood and Bone every 3 or 4 years, and we'd be excited by it.
We would all be content. Yes.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Now I guess with this one here, so D'Agostino and McIntyre have decided that Tanner um, is too much of a loose cannon, right? That they're afraid he's gonna give up everything to our heroes. So they make a plan in motion to take him out. So while that plan's going, our heroes have one of the funniest scenes in the movie for me, at least. I don't know how you felt. Was when they go to the computer offices and they talk to the computer guy.
Well, you'll have to
Is
go
it
into more detail.
the one with the mustache and the long hair?
Oh, that guy.
Right. Now, was he
Yes.
dubbed as well?
I don't know, but he was a Weasley dude.
Right. With a high pitched voice.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't show you how to do this kind of thing. And they're like, well, this guy doesn't know anything. I guess we're just going to arrest him because we've got these illegal discs. Well, no,
Yeah.
wait a second, guys. I'll help you,
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, this is where we learn what the VR technology can do. One of the interesting things about this is so Merhi agrees to be the guinea pig to try out the
Oh,
technology.
yes.
And so we've got this computer guy. We've got Evan Laurie with his backwards baseball cap and his shirt with holes in it, because that's how cool he is. And then Merhi's all strapped into the VR stuff. And the computer guy tells us that, hey, once you start a level, we can't interrupt it. You've got to complete the level. The system's not set up for that. So it's important to remember this fact, right, as we go into this next scene, because
Yes.
so the first thing is he starts off on level 1, and he's got a drill sergeant telling him he's got to do push-ups, and this is where he starts showing off. He's doing like jumping knuckle push-ups and everything.
Yep.
It's like,
Which
great.
again, no one asks him to do this. He just starts doing it to impress the audience or the characters and us in turn, the audience.
Right. It's like, oh, there you go. Thanks for showing off, Mr. Merhi.
Mhm.
Then he has to do the rope like gym class, and
Oh
so.
yeah.
Now he was born and I think he was raised in Brazil. So he's of Lebanese descent, but he's from Brazil. I wonder if they didn't have the rope in gym class like we did, where it's not all that exciting. It's just like, yeah, okay, so right? Like, everybody had to do it. Everybody tried to get out of doing it. It's like some sort of I don't know what is like some sort of like a assessment thing or something. Can you do the rope? You can't do the rope. Okay, whatever. Go sit down. Check it off. Don't check it off. Yeah. So it was like, okay, Merhi, you were the one kid that went up there that actually did it, while everybody else was like faking an ankle injury or something like that, so they could sit it out. Right? Yeah. Exactly. So then the cockiness after he kind of does whatever the drill sergeant wants, he jumps up to the highest level, to level 8. And the computer guy's like, oh my God, your friend just jumped up to level 8. This is crazy. And so this is where he's fighting Kill-All, right? I think.
Yes. Yeah. And it's not going well.
No, Kill-All slashes him in the arm. So now remember, we were told very, very explicitly by this computer guy that once you start a level, you can't abandon it. We can't take you out of the level. Except when Laurie goes, get him out of here, get him out of here.
He's like, blank.
Right. Yes, yeah. And the guy types some stuff on the computer and he's done. That's it. He gets out. So I don't know why they made such a big fuss about telling us that they couldn't take him out while he's in the middle, because they had no problem taking him out in the middle of the level.
Well, see, now there's a way you could have that. Well, no, this is just bad writing, obviously. But like, it's establishing a rule. Ghostbusters, you can't cross the streams. Guess what? Right. At the end of the movie, the only way to beat the bad guy, to defeat Gozer, is to cross the streams. Yeah. But like, you're right. I didn't even pick up on that when I was watching this. Maybe I need to pay more attention to Expect to Die. You're right. They establish a rule and then break that very rule 40 seconds later for no payoff. It's just happens.
Yeah. Right, because I was just like, oh man, he's stuck. He's got to find a way to fight this guy. No, no, he really does. So,
Yeah.
um, so now, so he's got this cut on his arm, and he goes back to the house, and his
Yes.
wife is there. She's tending to this cut on his arm, and no, oh, I forgot. I completely forgot. Before they go to the police station, she tells him she's pregnant.
Oh, that's right.
Right.
Yes.
I completely. They're sitting out on their porch having breakfast, and she's like, you got to be more careful for us. And he's like, what do you mean us? Well, I'm pregnant. I've got a little Jalal here in me. Yeah,
We all need a little Jalal.
little Jalal, exactly. So we've established that she's pregnant. Now she's like tending to his wound. The other thing too is she never wears clothes. She's
Yeah.
just always in a shirt, and I guess nylons. I guess she wears like white nylons under the. But that's it, like a big shirt, and that's it. She's not really wearing pants or anything like that
And
ever.
it's way too big. It's like Evan Lurie's shirt. Like it's just she's swimming in it.
Right, exactly. And so she's tending to his wound, and he gets a call from Lori saying like, "Hey, we got a break or something like that in the case." And he's like, "Oh, I got to go." And she's like, "What do you mean you got to go?" He's like, "I got to go." And it's like kind of like this moment of tension between them.
Out of nowhere. No setup. Like, yeah.
Exactly. So when he gets back, they're at the office together, and that's when the lieutenant shows up, and
Yes.
again, just completely dubbed, but also like
And
really,
he's wearing a mustard orange shirt too, I believe, in this
yes,
in
yes,
one of these scenes. So
yes.
mustard orange was like the costumer's favorite color.
Right. They I guess the chess king in the
Mustard
area was
yellow,
going out of
not
business.
orange. Sorry, mustard's not orange; it's yellow. Sorry.
But that's hard. No, but exactly. I know what you mean. Because I think like the local chess king at the Toronto Mall is going out of business, right? Like they just grabbed all the chess king stuff they could get. And
Yeah.
yeah, but the lines here that this lieutenant gives them is just crazy, where he's just like, so we found Tanner. He's dead. And they're like, wait, we've been doing police stuff. When did they find? Oh, we found him yesterday. Wait, we've been doing police stuff this whole time. Wouldn't you want to tell us that? Well, actually, they would have told you yesterday, but he was beheaded. So we just found out now that he was. And it's like, you couldn't have just told us all that in the beginning? Like, like,
Yeah.
hey, we found this. They found that body was decapitated. We discovered it's Tanner. They were the forensics did now just instead of this whole back and forth of like, well, why didn't they tell us? Well, because
Yeah.
he was. It's like it was like one of those things. I think like whether it was because it was multiple screenwriters or if maybe just it needed like a one pass through, I guess, draft wise or something. And
Sure. Yeah.
yeah, but I think with Merhi, it's like I don't think Merhi picks up on when those things aren't right. Like to him, that
Yeah.
sounded like a great exchange between everybody there. Like that all worked well for Merhi.
Well, you're right, because maybe on the surface there's a buildup to we're having this, cop conversation to, oh, by the way, he was beheaded, and
Yeah.
that makes it more dramatic. But you're right. Why
Yeah.
wouldn't you lead with that information?
So then D'Agostino and Bradley, after dispatching of Tanner, they decide, hey, we need to get rid of these cops. But see, D'Agostino's like, we need to actually get rid of them. Whereas Bradley's like, no, they would be perfect to train my game. Because these cops seem to really know how to take care of business. Now, after our heroes leave the police precinct, Merhi awkwardly invites Evan Laurie to dinner with him and his wife, and he won't take no for an answer. Just out of nowhere. Just
Well,
hey,
wouldn't you want to have dinner with Evan Lurie?
yeah, well, yes, that would actually be kind of a funny thing if like yeah he just like if there was like an award like a
A
prize.
sweepstakes? Yeah.
Exactly. The PM Entertainment sweepstakes, like all these different awards, like these different prizes you can win that have different
He's
PM
having that
things.
as a raffle at his art gallery. They're going to have a win a dinner date with Evan Lurie.
That would be great. I would imagine there's like got to be like he gets like a chef or something to make like some kind. I mean I'm worried about like Indiana. I guess I wouldn't want any kind of fish. I don't know how like yeah they fly it in or something. I don't
I
know.
don't know. I don't know. That
Yeah.
Muncie, Indiana cuisine. I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe like a steak, I guess, right? Like that would probably be
Sure.
a
Yeah.
good Midwestern meal, right? It's like,
But that seems more in line with what a guy who looks like Evan Lurie would eat. Good steak.
exactly. Yeah. But he would like, it would be like a really hearty steak, but he would make sure it was aged properly and all of those other
Yes.
things.
Yes.
So there's a sophisticated level to it for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Now we're saying all these nice things about Mr. Laurie, but his time in the film is about to end here pretty soon.
Oh, indeed. Yep.
Yeah, which is kind of a shame. So after the dinner date plans are made, our heroes split off and they drive in different cars. Mary's got to pick up some stuff at the store. Laurie's going wherever Laurie's going.
Hmm.
And they realize they're both being followed by white vans. Which I guess that would look suspicious enough. But
Sure.
the interesting thing is, well, so Merhi doesn't pick up on it, right? He pulls into
Oh,
the,
that's
the
right. He just walks into the shop and is like
right,
buying apples.
right, exactly. Suddenly, these two guys show up and get him at gunpoint, and he's got to dispatch them.
Yes.
But Laurie does notice he's being followed. He's like calling for backup and all of this stuff, and he realizes this is not a good situation. But the police department in Toronto / New York City, they just it takes them a while to find where he is and save him. So he gets cornered by the baddies, but he actually does a pretty good job against them. Like they've got like two guns on him, and he's like grabbing both guns. He does a rolling neck break where he kind of rolls the
Yeah.
guy over, and which I love a good neck break in a movie like this.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think you get a unique kind of neck break, and anybody can go behind them and twist the neck, and do
Well,
that kind
he
of neck
also
break.
does like he flips the dude and like
Yeah.
he hits like the hood of a car. Yeah, no, the fight scene with Evan Lurie is pretty acceptable. Pretty good.
Yeah, and now, unfortunately, with all the great moves, I mean, like, yeah, he's got like, he's kicking guys into crates and, like you said, throwing over cars and, taking all these guys down. He eventually, we get the lead singer of Styx, Dennis DeYoung. He's got Evan Lurie at gunpoint, and Evan Lurie's like, "Hey, I'm a cop. You can just let me go."
You
We
don't
get
want to
the
shoot a cop. Trust me.
yeah,
He says something like
exactly.
that. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Which, under normal circumstances, he's right. In this movie, it doesn't matter. But in normal circumstances, yes, you'd have the full weight of the police department trying to find out where Styx is playing next to arrest Dennis DeYoung because it's
Yes.
like, yes. But no, he shoots Evan Lurie. Evan Lurie has a good death scene. I thought he just kind of flops to the ground,
Yeah.
grimaces, and then the eyes stay open.
They give him a little moment, a bit of business there. He gets to perform. It was good.
Yeah. And then, Mayor, he dispatches his guys near the store and finds out the bad news about Lori at that moment.
Immediately.
Right,
Yes. The
exactly.
word's out.
Right. It's like, and he's like on the scanner right away. Hey, Lori's dead. All right. So now he's like, okay, I gotta go take care of these guys. So he goes back to his house though to see how his wife's doing. And that's when the poor man's Billy Drago is there. These guys, they show that they have his wife. They've caught his wife, and he better go with them, or otherwise he's gonna, something's gonna happen to her. And of course, the stakes are higher because the wife's pregnant.
Yes, of course. And I think we're skipping over a moment. Another
Oh, did we? Okay.
bizarre, well, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's coming up, but a bizarre, not bizarre, but a choice David Bradley made where the guy who killed Evan Lurie goes back to his
Oh,
compound and
right. Yes.
and shows David Bradley McIntyre that he shot and killed the cop. And he like says, how did you, he goes, how did you kill him? He goes, with a gun. What gun? And he pulls out his gun. He goes, what gun? This gun? And he takes the gun and goes, you shot him with this gun. He's like, yeah, I shot him with the gun. And then boom,
Right.
Bradley blows him away. And then he like wipes up the gun and says, oh, I hate guns.
Right.
Which again, like maybe that's a character thing that just didn't come across that well. Like his gun is developing a virtual reality game to kill people. But it's just a bizarre back and forth they have that doesn't feel scripted at all. It just feels like Dick Bradley wanted to do something a little funky. And he
Yeah.
did.
And also because I think he had just killed D'Agostino as well, didn't he?
It's around there. Yeah.
Yeah, because the guy's like comes in, and he's like, "Where's D'Agostino?" And he's like,
Oh, you know what? You're right. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah." He's like, "He's not around." I can't remember how did he kill D'Agostino. Did he? Oh,
He
I'm trying to.
he beheaded him, right? Didn't he?
Did he? Maybe that's right. Yeah, he might have
I don't
taken. Yeah,
remember.
it was something like yeah. It was. But D'Agostino was like, "Hey, we're pulling out of
No,
this."
no, no. He has a gun on like a robotic,
That's right. That's
uh,
right.
which goes totally against him saying he doesn't like guns because he just used the gun to kill. But he didn't do it with his own hands. Maybe that's
Yeah.
what they were aiming for. I don't know. But then
Yeah.
at the end of the movie, he's shooting guns left and right. So it was just a bizarre thing they let him
Right.
do.
It's I think it's again like one of these things with this script that was like written by so many different people that
Yeah.
one person was like Bradley doesn't like guns, another person's like, oh, let's pull this scene from FX, right, where he's like,
Yes. Yeah.
we'll do that, and then the other person's like, hey, this end fight scene, we got to have like there's guns lying all over this barn that he's just pulling everywhere, and so.
Hmm.
Yeah, so who knows? But yeah, so D'Agostino was killed with the special effects gun that he used the computer to control, and
Yes.
then Dennis DeYoung shows up and says, "Yeah, I killed Evan Lurie," so he kills him. That's right, and so and I mean he shoots him in the head. It's like a pretty for the different moments in this movie where you see like the special effects aren't great, or
Yeah.
that shot to the head was pretty.
It was good.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's what not to derail too much, but when a movie isn't working so consistently, like I will allude to Sector 4 Extraction, that I was heavily involved in making, like 90% of that movie doesn't work and it's ineffective. But there's a couple moments in there where like there's a good gunshot or there's a good punch. But in bad movies where things are executed so badly, so consistently, when something does work, it almost feels like it's a special effect. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Like a tiny moment actually working in a sea of not working. It's like, whoa. And like that gunshot, like you're saying, was great. Or the bartender with that sidekick, or Evan Lurie. There's another little moment in the Evan Lurie fight scene right around when he breaks the dude's neck where he does like a little bit of an Aikido move, like where
Yes.
it's like a little bit of a slappy fight thing that like Seagal would do. And it's like it's a third of a second, but you get that cool little like with his hands, and I'm just like, whoa, that's badass. So you gotta look for those little nuggets.
Yeah, because also, or not Laurie, Merhi had a moment too, like a little like Hong Kong kind of like punch moment.
Oh yes, in
Yeah,
the fruit station fight where he's shopping. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, you like, and I think I mean that was the thing with Merhi is he wanted the fights to look good. I think it's just this movie he didn't have all the names that he was used to, but like we get these moments here or there that
Yeah.
I mean it would have been nice if him and Bradley had more of a like a martial arts fight kind of thing. It was
Yeah.
almost like they were just leaning into the fact that his character, that Bradley's character, I guess couldn't do that kind of thing. That wasn't.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, they rewrote all these other parts of the movie. They could have rewritten, like, I mean, how hard would it have been to just throw a few trophies in his
Now,
office?
exactly. Now, this is, and I may be spreading lore that's not true, but didn't Bradley, wasn't the reason he kind of got out of the business was he had like health issues or something? Or am I making that up? I seem to remember years ago reading that like the reason why he kind of stopped doing movies and the later stages of his movies were largely this, where they were more acting, less action, was because he had some health issues. Have you ever heard that, or am I making this up entirely?
So I've never heard that, but I wouldn't be surprised because I mean, well, first off, he was older. I mean, he was born in 53. So, I mean, he's almost, I mean, the only one I can think of who's older than him is Seagal, right? That was doing these
Yeah.
kind of things. So there's that part. But yeah, well, all it says in his bio is that he focused on art and painting. That's what he does. But
Mm.
it is very possible that I guess there's a few things right with this kind of thing. It's like the health part of it. That could have been there because again, he would have been. Well, Crisis was the last movie he made, and that was in
Yeah.
'97. So
Yeah.
so he's only 44 then. I feel like that. So
Yeah, I guess it's a little young.
yeah, but I mean, I think the other thing too is that like you look at his run. I mean, obviously, Hard Justice was fantastic. That was a great one. That was in '95. But then between '95 and '97, you've got Exit. He did with Shannon Worry, where it's just kind of I don't know what that is, like a heist gone wrong movie. White Cargo with Shannon Tweed.
Yes.
This movie. Then Total Reality, which I
Oh yeah.
yeah, and Crisis.
I'm looking at my copy of Total Reality right here on my shelf. I have it on VHS.
Oh, do you have? Oh, nice.
From
That's
York
awesome.
York Entertainment. Remember York Entertainment?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But that's a total like sci-fi channel original type movie. No monster. It's not like a monster of the week type movie, but it's totally just straight up sci-fi. Like I don't remember him doing really any action in that movie.
No, and I wonder if, like, again, we were talking about how, well, 'cause, I mean, he gets out in '97, so this is like before, like, Seagal and Van Damme dropped down to the DTV world. But I wonder if he wasn't getting the parts he liked or something. I don't
Maybe.
know. Yeah, I mean,
But you can see in those that last half dozen or so you named off, they are moving largely away from the action stuff. He's doing more acting, kind of like I know I talked about it. I think it was on the Comeuppance podcast, but the it was basically a Lifetime Channel movie. The movie Bradley did where he's like a security guard in a building,
Is that
and he
Blood Run?
no. It's
Oh,
just
Lower Level.
yes, it's a
Oh,
woman
yes.
who he's just obsessed with her. So yeah, it's a total Lifetime movie basically, and he like manipulates the security system to like entrap her. And it's just a thriller. There's no action in it at all, but like again, good acting. From I think Bradley was for this type of guy, he was one of the better actors. So I look at that movie as a really fun thriller. Just so happens to have David Bradley in it. But during that his peak, it was all action, all fighting, all that stunts and stuff. But the last half dozen, it seemed like he was more this kind of role.
Yeah, and I wonder. I was looking to see if maybe there was something on Hard Justice because I mean that movie is pretty intense from a stunt standpoint, and I
Oh yeah.
wonder if maybe he got hurt doing that movie, and
Mm.
I don't know. Because yeah, I mean, I mean, Laurie's kind of the same thing. Like Laurie doesn't really do much after this movie either. I don't think. I think this is close to his last movie too. I
Mm.
believe.
I believe it.
Yeah, so he does Inferno after this, which is the Fred Olen Ray movie with
Oh, the Don the Dragon movie.
Don the Dragon. You're right, that was made in India.
Yes.
So that was his last movie, and that's the same year as this one is Expect to Die. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, I wonder if these guys just, I mean, and the thing too is like Laurie is like a good. I think he was born in '66 and Bradley's '53, so it's not even like an age thing. I mean, Laurie was only in his early 30s at this point, whereas Bradley was in his mid 40s. But yeah, I don't know if there's a point where you do enough of these. It seems to happen more with women actors that it seems like you watch these movies where like they have a run and then they just decide, you know what, I'm done making these
Yeah.
movies, and you don't know if maybe something happened from like a skeezy producer or something like that they were just like, okay, I'm not doing this stuff anymore. But with the actors, it's always weird. I mean, obviously Laurie he decided, okay, I'm going to make art. I guess I'm going to do art, and I guess and
Yeah.
Bradley, I guess it says he made art too. So who knows? Maybe the two of them were talking together on set, and they both like this movie. They were both talking about how much they love doing art, and they just like it was like separately. It was like I think of like the split screen, right, of the two of them like thinking about it after, right?
Yeah.
Like, I wonder, and suddenly like their agents call and they hang up on them, and then they both go. Bradley starts painting, and Laurie just like it shows him in a factory, like a open space, like with like tarps on everything, saying like, yeah, this is the place, uh,
Expect to paint.
expect to paint. Right?
Yes.
That's the sequel to this movie that never,
Yes.
Merhi was calling them to see if they'd make it, and they're like, no, we're actually doing the art. We're really doing it. Like we're, you know. Well, yeah, and I guess once oh no, because he made one other movie. I was going to say that after he got killed off, Laurie was able to go start his art career. But no, he's still going to make Inferno after this. He's got to go to India.
Oh yeah.
Well, and it's possible. I wonder if he made. It's possible he made Inferno first and it came out after. So
Oh yeah.
it's possible that he walked off the set from this movie after his character was killed, and he just went to Indiana and opened the. He just shows him in a car driving from Toronto to Indiana to open the art place.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful life.
Right, exactly. It's perfect. Yeah. Now, speaking of a beautiful life, we've got Merhi wakes up. He's like, I guess I don't know if he's like chained up or something. I don't know what the deal is. Like he's hanging from something. He's in the game, and his wife is also in the game. She's
Yes.
the princess. And Laurie lets her know that like she should be giving him hints. Now, I don't understand why when she's told by Bradley that she should give Merhi hints about how to, pass these different parts of the game, why she has to call him warrior all the time after that. Like,
Warlord.
warlord. That's right. Warlord. That's what it was. Yeah, warlord. Right. It's
She
like,
just immediately accepts the term. He's no longer honey. He's no
right.
longer, hubby deer. He is warlord immediately.
Yeah, and he doesn't tell her like make sure you call him warlord. She doesn't. She doesn't get that instruction, but she calls him warlord, and she calls him warlord in this way of like, if you were reading it in somebody's writing, you'd be like, okay, stop using that that proper name. Start.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, she's just like, go there, warlord. Oh, you're doing it right, warlord. It's just yeah.
Oh, and she puts emphasis on it. Like it's verbal. She's speaking it, but you could tell it's italicized in her head. Like like she's like, they're learning your moves. Change your moves, warlord. And it's like, oh my god.
Right. And what's great is like, so we find out that the bartender lost to the prison guard because the prison guard was learning his moves.
Yes.
Now we don't. I guess the wife would have. I guess the wife would have studied, right? Like she would have studied, or she would have known more about the game and understood how the game works. I guess, right? Like that's. But it's something that's not really. How do I want to say? It's not developed as well as it could have been. That she knows the game inside and out, and that's why she's telling him.
Are you saying there's a plot hole?
Exactly. I don't know exactly, but I mean, she knew how the game worked, I guess.
Yeah. No, yeah. She has way too much intel, and like, but again, the fact that she is now in the game. Oh, we're kind of skipping over the Billy Drago guy payoff when when
Yes.
when Merhi goes home to see his wife, he sees someone with long hair sitting in her computer chair where she's been the whole movie basically, and the person spins around and it's Billy Drago wannabe, not his wife, and that's how Merhi learns that his wife's been kidnapped, and then they like drug him or something. They knock him out, and that's when he wakes up in the game. So that's a nice little moment.
Exactly, because again, he's Billy Drago with David Coverdale from Whitesnake's hair,
Mm-hmm.
and so I guess from behind, because the way her hair's got like the ponytail or whatever,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess it could pass for that. So yeah, that's right. So that's how he gets fooled is that it's the poor man's Billy Drago behind
And he gets a nice little moment. Okay, to give credit where it's due. Later, after I don't want to jump too far ahead, but when Jalal is freed from the game, when he's able to finally escape, he runs into that dude who's like again in a ware. They're always just there's a warehouse there, and he's unloading like a crate of explosives or something. He comes up behind him and like gives him one or two kicks or punches. But then he needs to ask questions. So he does like a high kick and pins Billy Drago wannabe to a crate with like the heel of his boot, kind of like in Time Cop when Jean-Claude does the kick in the beginning, read between the lines. It's kind of like that moment. And I thought that was pretty cool. It was a badass little moment.
Yeah, because that's the thing is like once the whole computer game thing is just kind of like I don't want to say it's spinning its wheels, but it's just kind of this whole thing of like they wanted that to be the payoff, right? That they
Yes.
wanted, and you're watching and you're just like, okay, just find this stupid thing and get through the next part and get through, and then
Yeah,
he
he has to
saves
find
her.
like a key or something like, remember? Like,
Yeah, and then a pipe, is
yeah,
like
you called that the key? And it's like, no, it's a pipe, but it's just a prop they had laying around. It's
right,
ridiculous.
exactly. But he does save her. But then what he finds out is that like he saved her, but he doesn't know where she is in real life. He just
Correct. Is she in the sunroom, the
yeah.
detached garage? Where is she in the, yeah.
Exactly. And so he breaks free, and then as he's like going through the different rooms of this, like you said, like the detached garage and all this other stuff, that's where he runs into to the Billy Drago wannabe, and you get that great moment. But it's like one of these things where it's like, you know, as much as we don't know what's going on in this house, neither does Merhi. He doesn't know where he's going either. And so,
Yes.
but he finds himself in a barn. And
Yes.
and I guess this is one of those things where they're like, oh, a fight, on top of hay is going to be a really cool effect. And it's like, I guess I don't know. It sounds like maybe it's
Very weird.
right because it's just like the hay's just kind of flying up in the air as they're hitting each other and stuff.
Yeah. No, very, very odd.
And the thing about this barn is kind of like a Bugs Bunny style kind of thing where
There's like a
things are just
trap door. Yeah.
right. Exactly. There's trap doors. There's stuff lying around anywhere. It's like Bugs Bunny. Anything he needs, he can just pull it and he's got it. It's
Mm.
like Mayor he's got Bradley. He's about to kill him or about to take him down. There just happens to be a bottle lying around on the ground. Okay, I'll
Yeah.
smash him with that.
Yep.
Then Bradley goes to shoot him. Now that he's smashed him with the bottle, he's lying on the ground. So Bradley goes to shoot him. The gun clicks a couple times. Just happens to be an oil drum filled with gas that you can dump around. It's like
And maybe really quick, did you catch this? Or maybe I, again, wasn't paying enough the attention that was due for this movie. They do that beat of him going to shoot and you get the click, click. They do it twice.
right. Yes. Yeah.
David Bradley does it 2 times. And it's like, how did you forget betwixt this moment and 40 seconds later that your gun was empty? Because he does the same move. He'll go up to him, guns ahead, click, click. And it's like,
Yeah.
but you just did that. Like, you should remember that.
Right. Did he think he found somebody else's? Did he think it was?
That's what I'm wondering. Did he find another gun and I missed it? I don't know.
Yeah. No. That's a good point. I forgot about that because I was just like, it was like that classic moment of like the hero's done. It says,
Yeah.
all hope is lost, but oh no, the gun's out of bullets.
Uh-huh.
And but you're right. That's right. There was another. Yeah, it's again. I don't know. I mean that could have been an issue with editing, maybe.
Or
But
maybe it's a, like you said, it's a trope, but it's a powerful trope if used
yeah,
appropriately. So maybe to Jalal, who's the man in the saddle, he's directing
yeah,
this thing, maybe he's just like, to him it didn't register, we already did that, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, it's a powerful beat, and maybe he's right, maybe he's wrong, but to do it twice and not realize you did it twice is maybe just, you're going for you're playing into the emotion. I'm giving him way too much credit. It was probably just sloppy filmmaking, but it could be something he just looked over because he's like, this is powerful storytelling.
Right, exactly right. It's really, yeah, it really worked. And I should say, from an editing standpoint, 'cause I thought the editing was pretty good on this. Like, especially like that scene where Bradley is like holding the pen and he's like gripping it, and he's trying to like do the whole thing with the muscle into the game.
Yeah.
And he's like holding it as much as he can. And then when he finally releases, they cut to another shot of him.
Hmm.
Kind of at the perfect moment, and then he's there, and like you said, he has an interaction with the leopard head,
Hmm.
next to him. But so it seemed like from an editing standpoint, this was done pretty well. Like it was pretty, so
It's not bad. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So I don't think they left in a bad scene on accident. I think to your point, I think it's like Merhi thinking like the gun not having bullets, like
That's strong. That's a strong beat.
yeah, we won't. It's not overusing it here. This is just really showing you how these two
Yeah.
guys are really shooting at each other.
Yeah. Maybe.
Now,
He's an auteur,
he,
Jalal.
he is for sure. Exactly. Yeah. What does he call himself on his IMDb? He had a name for himself on
Oh
his
boy.
his bio. I can't remember what he called himself. Recognized worldwide as a premier action film producer slash director. That's what.
Mm.
Okay. So premier. Yeah. So yes, that's what it was. I thought I had something beyond that, but maybe that was what it was. The premiere. Yeah. I mean, the way he describes everything. Film one. He talks about the inception of film one.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Carved its niche in the lucrative action genres. You could say that these movies have a niche in the
Yeah.
action. Yes, I guess that's a real thing. So
That is true. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I don't, but yeah, I think that's one of the things when you get them, with Merhi, it seems like it may have been a little bit more of a collaborative process if he had more people, on in the movie with him
Hmm.
to collaborate with. But I think with this one being this amalgamation of what was supposed to be a sequel to another movie, and he's sort of scrambling to get the cast, and he's essentially, I mean, I wonder if more than Bradley were in Crisis, or in this and Crisis, that maybe he was just pulling the cast from Crisis as much as he could, so he's doing all this stuff, and he's just like, no one was there to say, "Hey, Mary, let's not do that twice."
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Did he direct Crisis or he just produce it? How was he? What did he do on Crisis?
That's a good question. I
Because I know he's
thought
not in it. I thought he directed it for some reason.
that's what I thought too. I thought that was the case. So I've still got his mini bio up here. Let me
Okay.
let's see what we got here.
Because I remember seeing Crisis on the video store shelf and being like, oh man, it's Bradley in like a tank top, muscles out, posing, and there's like a missile or something.
Right, right. Now he
Remember that?
did direct it. Yeah. So
Okay.
so actually the funny thing is with him as a director, the first one he did was Operation Golden Phoenix. And
Yes.
then this movie, Expect to Die, which he wasn't supposed to direct. It was supposed to be somebody else. This was his second movie. So he does
Mm.
this one, he does Crisis, then the two Circuit movies. And then there's a movie called Sometimes a Hero that's in between Circuits 2
Oh
and
yeah,
3.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so
Who's in that
that's
one? Is it oh God, what's his name?
a
Uh
Genesee.
who I had a feud with.
Oh, really? Oh, no. With Brian Genesee?
Not really. He
Right.
who cares if he hears this? It's not anything bad. I got pissy about something. I posted something about one of my movies on Instagram, and I guess
Yeah.
I was friends with him on there.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I posted a page of the. It was from a horror movie I did that had kind of a cool blood effect in it. So I posted the
Yeah.
page of the screenplay. A behind the scenes, because someone sent me a behind the scenes video of them shooting it, and then the final scene in the movie. So it was like three shots. It was like the screenplay, behind the scenes, that. And Genesee left a comment kind of ripping me apart because there was a typo in the script.
Oh,
And it was
jeez.
like, he was like, I have written screenplays and I have had screenplays produced, and I just you need to be aware of typos because that can just kill a project and kill a read. And I was like, okay, unfriend. And I just unfriended. So it's not a real feud. It was me being pissy, but also I'm like, dude, I don't know you. Why are you doing that?
Right. But like also like what kind of like I don't understand like what kind of advice that is.
Yeah, and
Like
he's right. I mean, like he is right, but it was also like a production draft, which means we were rewriting it like the night before, so a typo, like no one gave a shit. But yeah, I was just like, bro, come on, Genesee, I like you.
yeah, it's like you wouldn't know, that
Yeah.
typos, right? That you don't want to have typos, right? Like it's like, right? No, nobody wants to have typos in their
Hmm.
work, right? It's not like a goal, like
Yeah.
my blog posts generally have typos, and it's sort of like I have like kind of a mindset of, I guess, don't want, perfect or good to be or perfect to be the enemy of good, I guess, or whatever as they say. But
Uh-huh.
essentially the idea is I do one or two, I do like maybe one, maybe two read throughs depending on how much I've written. And that's it. I put it out there. And, then as I go back, I may catch a typo here or there. But I think for people like that are wanting to read the site, they'd rather I get the post out there.
Yeah.
But it's not like I'm putting typos on purpose or I'm like lazy in avoiding them. I want to avoid them. And then when I go through and reread it, if I catch the typos, I fix them.
Yeah.
But it's like kind of the same idea. It's like, Genesee telling you not to put a typo. It's not like you don't know. You don't,
Well, yeah.
right?
And also, like the movie's made, and I'm posting a
Right.
clip, so obviously it didn't hurt. Either
Right.
way, whatever. Let's just hope Brian Genesee never finds your blog and finds a typo, because
Right.
you'll
Exactly.
get a strongly worded post letting you
Can
know
you
that he is a
imagine?
writer.
I can only imagine if I get it. Yeah, it's funny some of the comments that I've gotten from people that are involved in the movies. Because I think the two biggest ones were Albert Pion and Fred Olin Ray.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, because so Albert Pion commented on one of mine because I did.
R.I.P. Albert Pune.
Yes, unfortunately, no longer with us. Yeah, he I've told this story probably a ton of times on the podcast, but I reviewed his urban movies. Like the
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah, and I was like, something's not right about these movies. Something had to go wrong because Albert Pion's not this bad of a director, right? And these movies look horrible. And so he commented, he's like, "Hey, you really are a connoisseur because you're absolutely right.
Oh
We
wow.
Yeah, he said that they lost a creative film going
Oh wow.
from Air France. Like they filmed the movies in Bulgaria, and then when they were coming back, a creative film was lost, but the distributors demanded three movies, so he
Okay.
had to do the best he could with the other two crates of film, and so that was he said that like based off modern technology with computers, he could have probably done a better job today, but at that time, he couldn't do it. But so he I reviewed some other ones like I reviewed Deceit, and in it he thanks Jean Claude Van Damme for making the movie. And people were speculating in the comments like, "Huh? Did Van Damme help? Did he like get help secure funding or whatever?" And Pyun commented, he's like, "No, Van Damme and Canon demanded I do reshoots on Cyborg, so I took the equipment for the reshoots and filmed Deceit with it."
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
exactly.
Okay,
So
cool.
that's why I thanked him. So we had these back and forths, and he says to me one day, he's like, "Hey Matt, can you give Mean Guns another look? It's one of my favorites that I've made, and I think if you watch it again, you might appreciate it more." I was like, "Okay, all right. If Albert Pion's asked me to re-review the movie, I'll do it." So I looked at my original review and I said, "A guy who directs car commercials could do a better job than this movie."
Oh, oh,
And I'm like, he could have seen that and just been like, "All right, you know what? Forget this guy. I don't want,
yeah, yeah.
But instead he like, put in this relation, of course, turned me into somebody who, was constantly championing his movies and all of that. So
Sure, yeah.
yeah, so there was that. And then Fred Olin Ray, I remember he did a movie called like something about Jesse James.
Oh
Had
yeah,
Tim
yeah, yeah,
Abel in it.
yeah.
And it's like one of those kind of like those it's too bad the South lost the Civil War kind of movies where
Oh,
it's like, you're kind of get this whole undertone of like things were better in the South before the Union came in and stopped everything. And so the movie just kind of set me off, and I was like, "This movie is a disgrace." Talking about the South, not what all this kind of stuff. I was like saying it was racist and all that stuff.
mm.
I've since kind of back and kind of toned it down a bit on that, but I then reviewed his Dinosaur Island movie, like I don't know, a few weeks later, and his comment was, "Well, at least I was good for something," or something like that. And I was like, "Oh man, he read the other review. He read them both." It's like it's like this kind of this eye opener for me that people read my reviews that that make these
Oh yeah.
movies, and so you never know. I don't think Genesee listens to the podcast, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a review that I wrote out there that he hopefully I didn't kill him too much in any of the movies I did, but.
And I want to be clear, I'm exaggerating when I say I have a beef. It was just, like I said, I got pissy and I was like, all right,
No,
whatever.
but
Yeah,
it is kind of one of those things where you're just like, yes, I shouldn't have typos. I know, but nobody
yeah,
wants typo. I mean, yes, all right, yes, people who comment on Instagram generally don't care about typos, right? When you like, when I'm like mad at myself for like, doom scrolling or something, and there's a post about like some big political incident that happened, and I'm like, man, I shouldn't be reading these comments. And then you
Yeah.
go in, and it's like people who like the typos are so thick that like you can't even make out half of what they're saying. Yes, that person, Genesee should talk to that person about their typos. Like that's the person that needs to that person needs to hear about it.
Also, not to be rude, he's Brian Genesee. Like, no, I don't need to hear this from Brian
Right, exactly,
Genesee.
exactly
Like,
that too. Exactly,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah, right,
I am a
right,
fan.
yeah,
I am a fan. That, oh, how did we even get? Oh, from that. What was it called? Sometimes a Hero or Never? What's it called? You
right.
mentioned
Yeah,
it in the
exactly. Yeah, sometimes
good
because
movie. I like that movie. I enjoy it.
yeah,
So there, that's my compliment for Genesee.
yeah. I've got to check that one out because it was also got Christina Cox and the late Darren Shahlavi. So,
Yes. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, Christina Cox is an interesting one. I think she was in Chronicles of Riddick, I think. But she was like kind of a darling. I don't know if darling's the right word, but yeah, Chronicles of Riddick she was in. But it seemed like she did a lot of like syndicated TV show stuff. In the '90s, that was kind of someone that you would just see in a lot of things like that at that time. So when I saw her in Chronicles of Riddick, I was like, oh wow, that's kind of cool that she got to be in that movie.
Well,
Um,
you know what
yeah,
else she did, right?
I know she
Yeah.
did one with Pionn, right?
Well, she did a little movie called The Boarding School Murders, written by Richard
Oh,
Pierce.
she was. Oh, no way.
Yeah, she was in one of my movies.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
And she's great. She's wonderful in it. It's a Tim Abel-esque role, but in a Lifetime movie, and she's basically just chewing it up as a bad guy. She was wonderful.
Oh, that is so awesome. So yeah. Oh, that's on Hulu now.
That one got a big re-release. Like once the rights expire with Lifetime and the
Yeah.
companies can take it elsewhere, they wind up sometimes like on Netflix. But Hulu, yes, that one is probably my most available Lifetime. Like it's everywhere. You can find it was on Disney Plus for a long time too. So you would
Right.
get I think it's because Hulu and Disney Plus are
They're
connected
together.
somehow.
Yeah.
But like there was a moment in time where it was like on the front page of Disney Plus, like not I shouldn't say the front page, but like
Yeah.
at the bottom of the front page, it would be like, and here's some thrillers, and it was on there. So yeah, that one that was cool.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool. Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, it's great. Curious some of these names that pop up here. So you have written a movie with Christina Cox, and then she did a Jalal Merhi film as well. So we have a connection in
Wow,
this
there
movie
you
here.
go.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's crazy. Yeah, awesome. So yeah, well, I'm trying to. So I mean, at this stage, we're almost there. The barn is set on fire. Merhi fortunately wakes up just in time to make it outside of the barn before the explosion happens. At the same time, Bradley, we were trying to figure out where Merhi's wife was. Bradley just drags her out of somewhere.
Yes, she's just there. Yeah.
Yeah. And for some reason, again, I don't really understand this outfit that she has on, where it's like it's supposed to be maybe one of Merhi's shirts, but like you said, it's definitely too big to be one of Merhi's shirts, right? It's
Yeah.
like but and then she's got like white nylons, like she's Shannon Worry playing the good girl character in an erotic thriller,
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
like, yeah. And
And we're
so
skipping over her wardrobe when she's in the game, when she's the
right,
princess in the game.
yes,
I won't be crude, but like it's extraordinarily revealing. And I
yes.
did when I saw that, I was like, oh, you poor girl. That like there's I don't think they needed to quite do that, but they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. No, that outfit, like you said, it's I see for the tags because when I do erotic thrillers, there's one tag that comes up a lot that's, called deep cleavage.
Mm.
That outfit seems like it would fit that category, but let's see if that person. Nope, that tag didn't get in there. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So one of the things this is probably kind of a obnoxious tangent, but whenever I see that tag, so like if like when John and I are doing an erotic thriller and I look through the tags on it, if I see that deep cleavage tag, I get "Sweet Freedom" by Michael McDonald in my head. So yeah, it's like it's like I guess like the beats of that deep cleavage "Sweet Freedom" they sound the same. So yeah, exactly, but yeah, but you said it's like they went to some local like costume store, which I think Toronto is known for that. My wife and I were watching a documentary that this young couple put together about A Christmas Story, and
Mm.
they were going to like kind of all the different places that the movie was filmed, and I guess a chunk of it was shot in Toronto, and they still had some of the costumes on some studio lot that had different costumes on it. So I'm wondering if Merhi went there and just grabbed the first princess outfit he could find, and then they put it on her, and they were like, "Huh, yeah, I guess. Are you okay to keep wearing this?" She's like, "All right, yeah, we'll just do the scene. Let's go for it, And
Yeah, maybe.
yeah, they also straightened her hair out for that scene. So
Yes. Yep.
as the yes, no longer had the Billy Drago, poor man's Billy Drago hair. Right. Yes. Yeah, I forgot about that because the princess outfit, it was just like, man, and it is kind of interesting too because we get that earlier scene with his partner where she just gets undressed for almost no reason at all,
Yeah.
just and then we get this outfit here. So, though to be fair, they do give a little something for the ladies and for the fellas out there that also 'cause
Okay.
we get Merhi and Bradley fighting in a mud wrestling sequence.
Oh, I thought you were going back to the sex scene with Jalal Merhi and his tiny
Oh,
whitey.
oh no, no,
I
no.
thought you were saying that was for the ladies. I was like, I don't know who that's for.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay, so that scene has been completely cut out of the Film One YouTube
What?
version.
What?
Yes, yes, that scene's
Oh,
completely gone. She
it's
just takes him
there.
out
It is.
back, and then
Oh,
that's it. I
oh
had no idea
no.
that. Oh
I
no.
was wondering why you were glossing over this. I thought maybe you were just trying to keep it real clean today. But
No, oh no, no,
no.
we have the explicit tag on this podcast. We talk about all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Oh no, in the raw, uncut, lost media version I have on VHS, I guess the
Right.
uncut version. Um, no, he says, what's his partner's name? Sharon. He goes like,
Yeah.
Sharon has been shot, and the wife says, "I'll take care of you." I believe it's straight cut to fireplace, pan over, and it's her naked, and Jalal in tidy whities, and they have a nice long sex scene.
No way. So
Um,
he made a decision that he thought that scene would get his movie the explicit the parental the age
yeah.
tag or whatever,
Mm.
and he made a decision to cut that scene out so he wouldn't have because I wonder if that affects monetization if he if
Maybe it might,
yeah
and that might be a big deal because because you mentioned you were watching on YouTube, so I went to the Amazing Film One YouTube page where he's bootlegged every movie he's made and uploaded. I guess he owns the rights; it's not
right
bootlegging, but yeah, it had like millions of views.
yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess that would be important to you don't want to lose that monetization if you're getting millions of views.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, it's possible too that he goes back and looks at the scene and says, "Boy, I'm really awkward in that scene." I mean, that's also a possibility that he didn't. He looks at it now and thinks like, "Okay, yeah,
Well, I don't
so
want you to miss it, so I'll be happy to record it off my TV screen, and I'll just send it directly to you, so you can
yeah,
have it for your
exactly, yeah.
purposes. Yeah.
Well, no, because I must have seen because you're saying sounds really familiar, and so when I reviewed this movie back, however long ago that was, when I reviewed it for the site, that I had to have seen that scene, because I would have gotten an uncut, YouTube or sorry, a Netflix version of it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, let me see because
I'm surprised it didn't scar you.
right, exactly. I had to. I didn't mention it in the review, which made, which that's also probably strange that I probably would have mentioned something like that, but. Usually I say in the first paragraph how I got the movie, but I don't know that I did. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. I guess one of the things I was doing at the time was I was trying to make sure that Jeff Wincott and David Bradley had the same amount of tags. So I don't know. I have no
Wow,
idea why that was, why I needed to do that.
that's important.
Yes, I guess I didn't want them to, one to have more than the other. So I was like, okay, well, I just did a Jeff Wincott movie. I got to do a David Bradley movie. I don't know where the thinking came with a lot of that stuff, but yeah, exactly. So, I think okay. I did mention about the whole calling the warlord all the time,
Uh-huh.
but it doesn't look like I mentioned the love scene. So yeah, so
So what we're saying is, anyone listening, if you want to see the true artistic vision of Jalal Merhi and Expect to
right,
Die, you can't watch it on YouTube. You got to go get yourself a copy,
yeah.
VHS, DVD. I know it's on DVD. Go find it.
Right, exactly. Yeah. No, I said you can get this on DVD or VHS from Amazon. I wonder if I bought a copy on DVD and I don't know where it would be now. I don't know because I've moved. So, oh yeah, I said I bought it only for the review. And
Oh,
so I did. I own this somewhere. I don't know. You know, because
it
I
should be
when I,
on your mantle. You should be putting it right there for all your guests that come over, dinner parties. They
yes,
can
I
see you
should
have
have.
them.
Yes, I should. You know, so when I moved down here to Philadelphia, I left a crate or a tote of DVDs at my parents in their basement, and they've been there forever. I know. There's another Evan Laurie movie that's in that thing called Guns and Lipstick. Uh,
Oh,
yeah, it's a real rare one there. And I think John looked online and said that like people were selling it for like $60 a piece. And so,
wow.
yeah, that could be a gem in my collection, Guns and Lipstick. So, but it's like, who knows what kind of shape they're in? They've been in that basement for like 10 years now. So it's like, it's one of those things like when I left them there, I was like, well, once I get settled down here, I'll start bringing, some of them down here. And then it just never happened.
Hmm.
Wow. So I didn't even remember owning this. I bought this on DVD from Amazon and had it, I must have bought it used. I can't imagine I paid $20 for it. I had to, back then before like the resellers got involved, you could get a lot of these things for really cheap.
Oh yeah, that's how I built up. After I got tired of my bootleg VHSs, you just would hop on Amazon, eBay, get all these things for super cheap. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was such a good deal. So I mean, like Guns and Lipstick. I think I got that one for $5 on Amazon. I mean, it took for a while to find it. It was like essentially like one of those things where I think every couple of weeks I was checking on on Amazon to see if there was a copy available for me to buy. And then one day they had it, and I was like, boom, that's it.
Yeah.
I'll snatch that up right away.
Yeah.
Well, so I guess now as we get to the end here, I was curious. Like, it looks like Merhi does his own stunt here at the end, where so Bradley throws Sharon in the back of his SUV, and then he drives
Oh yeah, yeah,
off.
yeah. Yes.
And she has this great line. She goes, "I'm not going anywhere with you." And it's kind of like, I don't know that you're in a position to say anything right now, right? It's a little
Yeah.
late to tell him that,
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
you're already in the back of the car. But then Merhi runs and he grabs onto the side
Yeah.
of the car. I think that's him who does
It
that
has to
run
be.
moment.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. And then that I couldn't tell how much it was him hanging on the car when Bradley's driving because there were a couple of times where his face didn't look like his face, but
Mm.
I've never really seen Jalal Merhi with wind blowing in his face and him like grimacing. So it's possible it could have just been him the whole time.
And who knows? That car didn't look like it was moving that fast. And there's
Mm.
shots from inside the car
Yeah.
where it's Bradley driving and it's kind of over, out the pass or the driver's side window and Murray's hanging there. So it's entirely possible that it may have even been cheaper for him just to do it himself and save some
Right.
money. Because the end of this movie, the very, very end climax does feel very much, let's just grab the camera and go finish this thing. Because the movie ends, and when it ends hard. It's just
Right.
like, we're done.
It
Movie over.
does.
So I could totally see it just being like, we got to wrap this thing up, get the smallest crew, and let's just go knock this out.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is. Because it's like then I know for this next stunt, it's probably not him. Where Bradley stops the car short. Merhi goes flying off into this
Mm-hmm.
big puddle on this dirt road that leads up to his house. He's kind of in the puddle, and then Bradley goes to shoot him because he's got this little like snub nose like 22 or something that he pulls out of the glove box.
Yeah, yeah,
And he goes to shoot him, and then the wife comes and like tries to stop him, and he throws the wife against the car.
yeah.
And of course, again, she's pregnant, so that makes it all the more tense that he's doing that kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
But then, again, for the ladies, we get the mud wrestling scene, which again, for the cut version of this on YouTube, this is the best you're going to get. But if you get the uncut version, you get Merhi and his tighty whities. So this is more like kind of more old hat here at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they roll around a bit. And then you get that moment, which I think to your point, they're like, we need to end this thing now. Like we've been shooting for however long. Let's just get this thing in the can. They do the classic. Both of them have the gun. The gun goes off. Who got
They're like
shot?
chest to chest. Yeah, they're
Chest-
like right up. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Which I love that idea too. That like if they're chest to chest, it wouldn't bother Merhi at all. Just
no, it would still really hurt you.
exactly. But it's like the gun goes off, and then slowly Merhi falls down. Bradley's okay. He rides off with the wife and he goes and does it. No, actually, that's
No,
not what
no,
happened,
no.
right? No, no.
That's our fan fiction version. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. Does now he says? Does he say expect to die?
Yes, he does. He
Yeah,
does.
yeah.
It's
One last time.
the gunshot rings out. The wife is conscious, and she yells out, "Blake!" And then they're staring at each other, so you don't know who got hit. And then Bradley McIntyre starts cackling, just chuckling to himself, and he says, "Expect to die," and he collapses backwards into the mud.
Yeah, and then Mayor he goes to his wife. They kind of embrace, and then boom, credits. That's
Well,
it.
also to be fair, it's such an like listen, in real life if someone gets shot or dies, they're never laying in a dignified position. You're always like crumbled up. But the way Bradley dies in this movie is he collapses backwards into the mud, but his knees are still under him. So
Right.
he's complete. It's a crotch shot. It's just an epic crotch shot, and it's the last shot of the movie. Is like Merhi and his wife embrace, and you could have faded to black on that. That is your lead. That's your hero coming full circle. They had their arc and they survived together. But they cut back to Bradley just splayed in the mud with his crotch out. His crotch is covered, I should say. He's wearing pants, but like it's a wide open crotch shot. He's not sitting like a lady, you should say.
Right, exactly. Or like Jean-Luc Picard earlier in the movie, right?
Yeah, correct. It's not dignified. It's the least dignified shot of his career. But he's got some flexibility because he's completely crumpled backwards. Like he's almost like folded in half backwards. And that's how we end our movie.
And that's it. Yeah, then the credits roll. I mean, I wonder if he saw that and he was just like, "I'm not making it in a movie again. I'm done." Yeah, right. Like, that's it.
God damn it, Murphy.
Right. Yeah, come on, Mary. What's the matter with? Yeah, so that's. I mean, it may have been also too that maybe he didn't get paid for either of these movies, and that's what made him stop doing movies.
Maybe.
That's the other thing too, right? You never know with these kind of things. Yeah, I mean, I guess now that the credits have rolled here, anything that we missed on this movie that you wanted to mention?
One of my favorite things in this movie, and I wrote it down because I didn't want to get it wrong, and I may still get it wrong, but I think I wrote it down in the proper order. Whenever you're plugged into this VR system, Bradley was kind enough to have some sort of like vital system hooked up so you can keep track of your vital signs while you're in there. But the vitals they track, and there's like a little bar graph. It's like a computer grid with like a spiral thing showing your how well you're doing on all these vitals. And the vitals are as follows. Muscular, epidermal, skeletal, cardiac, and nervous. And I found that delightful. Why would nervous? Like all these at least sound like epidermal is a little weird to me, but he's tracking your muscular strength, epidermal, skeletal, and nervous. I guess it is to train soldiers, and maybe that's an important thing. But cardiac is on there, which I think would delve into the nervous side, like keeping your heart rate down and pressure and stuff like that. But the fact that nervous is on this list just brought me great joy.
Yes, yeah. I had to because the one that got me was the epidermal one because I was like, why does it say that? So I had to pause it, and then I caught nervous on the far end as well. It's just yeah, and it's like you said, it's like this kind of circular graph kind of thing. It's almost like a roller coaster.
Yeah, and they're going in loops, so it's not actually tracking. And they cut to this graph like 5 times with like 3 different people, and it's the same shot each time, and it's just ramping through. Like the muscular's going up and down, epidermal, up and down. So I don't know, but I found that wonderful.
Yeah, no, that was absolutely a thing of beauty. I was trying to think if there's anything in this as well for me that like I just was. I mean, the Evan Laurie outfits for me just this idea of the younger sidekick and the idea that Evan Laurie was the younger sidekick when he really wasn't young, just because he was younger than them. He wasn't like this kid, like doing the grunge thing. It wasn't like somebody 10 years younger than him or something like what it was supposed to be. But I just love this idea that he's got flannel shirts, or he's got like a shirt with holes in it, and the wide leg jeans, that like, whereas like Merhi's wearing these like boot things or whatever that he was wearing, and it's like he always had a suit on. And like that juxtaposition that the Merhi was the buttoned up cop, even though like he's doing jumping push-ups and things like that. It's like I don't know, it's just but that idea. I mean, I think of what was it, American Dragons? Was that the one with Michael Biehn?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like a similar thing where you had like the scally caps on and the oversized like sweaters and stuff, and it was like, oh, he's the younger guy, and it's like, no, he's like almost 50 years old in this movie. He's not like a kid.
Yeah. And one other thing, if I may,
Yes, oh yeah, definitely.
because this is a line back in my video store days with my buddy that worked there. We watched this movie. That's how I first fell in love with this movie. There's a moment in the barn at the very end, which again, at this point, McIntyre, David Bradley has kidnapped Jalal Merhi's wife, put her in this VR thing, killed numerous people, potentially killed Merhi, still has his wife hostage. At this point, we don't even know where the wife is. It's after he escaped the game. And they're in the barn, and Bradley's like hiding, and Merhi unloads his pistol at him and just fire, 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 fire. And then McIntyre starts to slink away, and Jalal yells out, "Those were warning shots, Vince." And in my head, I'm like, me and my friend used to quote that all the time because we're like, why are you giving him warning shots? Like, why would you do that? And it's clearly an 80-yard line too that they added in after it. But why all the lines like, I'll get you in the next round, or I got you now. Those were warning shots. Why?
Right. Well, because like is that the idea is that Bradley is so villainous that like he won't even give up after being getting warning shots. Is that what the idea is supposed to be?
Maybe, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, because you're right. It doesn't make any sense. Like this guy has shown over the past 90 minutes of movie that we've been watching, but over the time that Merhi's been trying to chase him or take him down, that warning shots don't matter. Like did Merhi's character think that like he was going to come out with his hands up and be like, okay, you got me, yeah.
Or maybe he's just got so much of an ego, like he's just a really bad shot. So to make himself feel better in the moment, he's like, oh, those were warning shots. I'll get you next.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, for somebody that felt like he had to show off doing jumping knuckle push-ups to a VR boot camp guy, yeah, I could see him, being like, no, I just kidding. I was just joking with those shots. Now I'm shooting you for real.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, but that line, yeah, I mean, the Merhi, Merhi as an actor, I don't want to make fun of his English, because obviously, he's learned English as a second language. English is not an easy language to learn, so I get all that. But there are definitely some moments that are just absolutely delightful, just with his line delivery.
Exactly. Like I said, the way he says, and it's nothing to do with the accent itself. It's just, when kill all and the inflection he says it with, it's just, it's wonderful. It adds so much to it.
Yes, exactly. Or when he's explaining that, when the lieutenant's giving him a hard time about the bus that went bad the night before, and he's like, "Well, we killed 7 bad guys, and it's all these drugs off the street, and whatever this contraband. I mean, the variety of contraband that they took off the street, that diamonds and 3-inch floppy disks. Yeah, yeah. This movie. So now knowing originally I was going to be like everybody should at least go watch the film 1 version because it's free. But now knowing that they edited out the love scene.
Now you all have homework to do.
Right, because it is kind of disappointing because I'm not saying that like I missed seeing Merhi in his tighty whities, but it's more the fact of like, oh, I want the whole movie, like I want Expect to Die in all of its glory. And
Of course.
yeah, and finding that out, that maybe I should send Merhi a letter and say, hey, can you just put the explicit version up and demonetize it, just so we can, you're like, no, because everybody will watch they won't watch the other version, and I won't get any money from it. It's like,
Maybe, because these are all hit. Like clearly, he owns the rights to all these. They've reverted back to him, which is why he's able to post them, which has given us some treasures like Circuit 3, which never came out here.
Yes.
Until 2 decades after it was made, it wound up on his YouTube. And I remember when that popped up, I was like, oh my God, I've been wanting to see Circuit 3 since whatever, 2006, something crazy like that.
Right. Yeah. Yes, that one. I mean, the problem is that, again, when you go to his page, it's like everything is in multiple languages. So everything's in Brazilian Portuguese. So you got to sift through that. I think a lot of them are like in French or Spanish as well. But once you find the English language version of it, it's probably a good idea to like bookmark it in a playlist or something like that you have, because then you can go back and watch it. But man, I'm wondering because all of the violence was kept in the movie. But the same thing happened to me when I was posting my videos that I put on YouTube, where I do like clips of movies and kind of just talk over them or whatever.
Hmm.
I was doing one of the Showdown a Little. I was doing the bath scene, actually the bathhouse scene from Showdown Little Tokyo.
Yeah.
And as I'm watching the video, I'm like, oh man, there's like nude women in this,
Mm.
topless women in this. So I was like, I gotta put a thing up, that the whatever you have to sign in essentially to prove
Yeah.
your age, and that one does way worse than the other. I also did what was the other scene in I can't remember the other scene. Oh, I think I did the scene in Showdown where he takes out like seven guys in the house and he stops Tia Carrere
Oh,
from killing herself.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and so that one is done like I don't know 10,000 or something more views than the bathhouse scene, because the bathhouse scene is just like most people just come across it. Most people don't sign into YouTube; they just come across videos and just watch them or don't watch them.
Yeah.
So Mayor, he probably looked at it and said, okay, that's a decision, a monetary decision that I'm going to make to take myself and my tidy whities out. And
Mm.
yeah, I mean, or I didn't even think of this. No, no, because he was married when he made the movie. According to IMDb, he got married in '91, so he was already married at that point.
Oh,
But
okay. Okay.
I mean, I don't know if maybe him and his wife had a different understanding of him doing love scenes. Like,
Because I don't know if I did he have many? Not that I track such things, and I'm probably committing too much thought to this about Jalal Merhi love scenes, but I don't know. Did he have any in TC or Golden Phoenix or Talons of Eagle? Oh, did he? I think he did in Talons of Eagle. No, was that Billy? I think Billy Blanks. Either way, I'm thinking way too much about this.
right,
But
Billy Blanks. No, I think I think he might have. Is that the one where he or Fearless Tiger maybe?
mm,
Um, one of them. I mean, he was married to the character he was married, or the actor he's married to was Monica Schnarr. Um, I thought he had a love scene with her
mm,
in Talons or Fearless Tiger, but I could be wrong.
we'll have to assemble an assembly cut of all
Right.
these scenes together, and then make sure they're available for the public so they can just watch them in succession.
Exactly, exactly. Just put up the Mayor He Loves scenes. Exactly. We should have him do. You just put the Mayor He Loves scenes up, so then
Yeah.
demonetize that, Jalal. And I'm on a first name basis with him already. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah, same here. Same
yeah.
here.
Come on, Jalal, help us out here. But no, this was it's good that you had the different version of it, so that and like you were saying, like it was weird for me. It was weird for you hearing me just be like, oh yeah, so then he takes her to the other room and
I
that's
thought you
it.
were just being a gentleman glossing over it, but
Yeah.
no, it's you missed out.
No, no, I was, she says, I know how to make you feel better. She
Yeah.
takes him by the hand, and then it's next scene.
Nope. Nope. Nope.
Yeah, no, so
You missed out.
yeah, I guess. Wow. So for people listening, this is one that you should see if you haven't seen it before, if you haven't seen it in a long time. But just know that the film one version, it's on the one hand, it's great that Mary's done this, that we can get all of his movies on his
Hmm.
YouTube channel like that. But yeah, you might have to do some digging and find the actual DVD because, or the VHS because, yeah, he edited this. So yeah, or if you can find an unedited version, I think also because he owns the rights to these, I think he put in copyright claims for anybody that would have put them up on
Oh yeah.
YouTube themselves. So
Yeah. No, so yeah, if you're at home having a Jalalathon yourself, make sure you get the uncut version.
right, everybody that's watching the Jalalathon with you will want to see that scene. Yeah,
Yes, yes.
exactly.
Your grandma, your family, they don't want to miss it.
Right, exactly. Yes, that would be the best. You're watching this with your family, and just like that scene comes up. Yeah, yeah. God, good old Jalal. Perfect. Yeah. Rich. Anything else while we're still here on this movie?
I think that's about all I got on this one. I love this movie. It's been a while since I had seen it, and it was wonderful to revisit and brought back so many memories of my video store days. And this was one of those hidden gems of just like, man, you got to see this movie. And
Yes.
it was fun.
Yeah, and I gotta say, it does sound like it was a ton of fun, working at the video store, where you were, I mean, you and your coworker, your friend saying things like, that was a warning shot, Vince. Like, that's just, that sounds like so much fun. Yeah,
My
yeah.
favorite, really quick, and I'll let, I don't
No,
want
no,
to
it's
go
like,
out, but I know I said in the come up, and I believe I said it on there. But what my favorite thing ever from my video store days was, do you remember when? Well, I'm sure you remember Replicant with Van
oh,
Damme and
yes,
Nicole.
yeah.
On that DVD. This is early-ish DVD, so commentaries were still kind of a novel thing. And it was even more novel that on the Replicant DVD, Jean-Claude Van Damme did commentary on it.
Yeah.
And he's just coked out of his mind on that commentary. But video store, it's getting late, like 10 o'clock. We're open until midnight, 1 a.m., and hardly anyone in the store. So we would put on movies that we probably weren't supposed to be putting on. But we would put on Replicant with Jean-Claude Van Damme commentary. So to some random person coming into the store, which happened, there would just be this Belgian voice coming through the speakers talking about the movie that's on screen, and people would be like, what is going on? But that, it's absolutely one of my favorite memories ever of just doing the most ridiculous things, such as Jean-Claude Van Damme commentary in a Hollywood video.
Yeah, I love that. That is so amazing. I would probably that would probably be the thing that would get my buddy and I to go in to that like we would we had it was like a movie scene, I think was the one, and they had like a collection of like older stuff on VHS, like like movies like this,
Mm-hmm.
that we would kind of dig through those and find stuff for a Saturday night, that if we weren't gonna go out and do anything else, we'd pick those up. But like nobody ever worked at any of those places that would do something like that. Every once in a while you get into a conversation with somebody that worked there about some of those movies.
Mm-hmm.
But never really, like, I don't know, like none of them really, it was more like, you'd go to one of those places and then be like, oh dude, you gotta check out the new Transformers movie. It's so good. And they're like, do you see us renting? I'm renting the Lorenzo Lamas Asylum movie right now.
Yes.
Do you think I'm going to enjoy 2.5 hours of a Transformers movie?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Well, Rich, before we wrap up, anything that you wanted to plug?
I got nothing coming up right now. It's so funny. I feel super busy, but nothing upcoming, at least that you'd be able to watch. So if you're so inclined and you like Lifetime movies, go back and watch one of my dozen movies. Do You Trust Your Boyfriend's a good one. Abducted on Prom Night's a good one. And me and my wife just rewatched one of my movies I haven't seen since it came out. And the Lifetime movies always have the stupidest titles. They want the title to basically be a log line. So none of these are my titles. I hate these titles, but we just rewatched one called My Father's Murder in Greece that I wrote a few years ago. That filmed in Athens. They went to Greece. It actually has a pretty big scope for a Lifetime movie, and I hadn't seen it because I was writing like 5 movies a year at that time. So I watched it when it came out and haven't really watched it since. And it was really, really good. I think it has a big scope to it that you wouldn't normally see in a TV movie. So, and that one's out there too. I think it's on Hulu. So My Father's Murder in Greece is another fun one. If you're inclined to watch that type of stuff, I'd start with those 3.
I was going to say, I think I saw that one. I saw that one on something, available on something. So yeah, yeah. While we're chatting here, well, so right now it's just showing on being on Prime right now. You can rent it on Prime, but I think where I saw it was, I think Lifetime was showing it. I think it might have been or something like that. Maybe, or no, maybe it was on one of the streamers, and maybe they yeah, it's it's not there now or something. But yeah,
Yeah, they come and go. But yeah, that one's worth checking out, I think.
yeah, for sure. And it goes, I'll quickly, Final Heist on Tubi as well.
Yeah.
Is available too. So yeah, you get they're those movies are a ton of fun, and like like we're saying, obviously you can go back and find Expect to Die and watch that as well. But it does seem like the Lifetime movies are filling a niche that a lot of the industry that we loved in the '90s, it needs filling for sure.
Sure, yeah. That's how I convince. Yeah, that's how I sleep at night. Is saying things like that to myself.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree.
They are a ton of fun. I always enjoy watching them as well. Right. And I mean, to be frank, like my wife is, she's, when it comes to watching movies, she's not so much a fan of the movies that I like to watch. But your movie, like Lifetime movies, that's a category that she does enjoy.
Okay.
Yeah. When we met, like she had me watch a movie called Wicked. I don't know if you've heard of that one.
Oh, with Julia Stiles?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
That was like one of her favorite. Is it William R. Moses? Is that his name?
I forget.
something like that. But he's just always in those movies. And so I watched that. Well, it was late Patrick Muldoon as well, who it just
Oh, yeah, yeah.
that's right. He was but that was like her like, oh, this is my low budget movie that I because she knew I had the blog and everything like that. And so I was like, yeah, this is great. I reviewed it on the site and everything. And so so that's kind of her level of that kind of thing. Like a Dolph Lundgren movie is probably not going to do it for her too much. But, or definitely not Jalal Merhi. Like she's gonna be like, I don't know what this is. I'm just gonna play on my phone or something. So.
Well, throw one of them. I'd love to get her feedback. That'd be fun.
Yeah, definitely. I'll just watch some with her. Yeah, we've got to make our way through the Earth, Wind, and Fire documentary. We got through half of it. So once we complete that, we'll be free. We can.
Okay.
We'll be open for sure. Excellent. Well, thank you again, Rich, for coming on. This was a ton of fun.
Absolutely, man. I had a really good time, and hopefully we can do it again.
Oh yes, absolutely, for sure.
And I call dibs on any Jalal you haven't done yet. That's where I'll call my dibs. So
we definitely got some in there for sure. Yeah,
there we go.
We'll come back to the Jalal for sure. Absolutely.
I'll be your Jalal correspondent. That'll be like we now go live to Richard to talk more about some Jalal piece of crap.
I think everything from Jalal is available except for expect. Oh no, TC 2000. And Expect No Mercy. Those are the only two Jalals. But
okay,
all the Tiger Clauses are available. All the circuits are available. So yeah, there's a lot of Jalal. That's available for us to cover.
Perfect. I'm down.
All right, excellent. That sounds great. Yeah, thank you for listening. We'll be back soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.